Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pathfinder, the Thursday group's new thing that I still haven't named anything. Part 2. Um, when we last left off, our heroic heroes, uh, as if they could be called heroes, had run away from the dangerous dwarven city of Hammerfell that had been assaulted by devils of some sort, led by the knight in the silver armor. That they heard about from a dwarf because I had to give some kind of exposition. Um, and they didn't go and see it all happen. So anyway, regardless of my bitterness towards their not going and seeing my awesome scenes, they're now in Griffin's Rest, a human settlement to the south of Hammerfell, where Paige Smith's family comes from. Paige Smith's mother and father have been murdered on the warpath of the devils that came through here. Her brother is the only one left, and everybody else is sort of just tagging along and trying to avoid getting murdered. Though it seems to be more of an aftermath here than it does actually like active anything, so you're probably okay. Yeah, I mean, and that's pretty much where we're at. So what we're going to do, of course, is character introductions, because that is the first thing that gets done in every session. So we will go from left to right. So we have Yen, then Shroot, then Peepers, then Necra. So Yen, take it away.
Alright, I'm playing Zorn. He's a kobold wizard that was recently freed from slavery, and basically he wanted to die for the first session through various means, and he changed his mind near the end because all the people that he hated are dying, so maybe the gods are answering his question, or his pleas to smite all these nasty dwarfs.
Please kill the dwarves. Alright. Shroot.
Alright, hello, I am playing Ferris, the Catfolk Ranger. Super curious guy. Worked essentially as a PI in the dwarf city. Followed with these people basically because he didn't want to die. But is super curious about the city
still. It's a good reason. Lovely. Alright. And next we got Peepers. Tell us about Tibbles.
Tibbles? Tibbles is a gnome sorcerer of the Shadow Bloodline. I don't think I mentioned that ever before. And, yeah, no, he's just been he was like, what's the word? Excluded and ostracized in his own culture. So he's kind of roaming the world now, and he thinks maybe perhaps he's found something called friendship.
Oh no. Oh no.
I'll end on that cliffhanger.
Oh, alright. I'm worried about friendship, but okay. Alright. And last but not least, Necra, tell us about Paige.
Paige Smith's a really unhappy woman right now. Was a woman who found herself loving nothing more than a good story and looking to find and catalogue and share all of these tales that she could find. And has found herself with a taste for being in one of the stories that she loves so much, and has found it more bitter than anything else.
Fair enough. Okay, so basically you guys have a little while to kind of do as you wish, in terms of like what we've done in the past, and I'm gonna do like a couple of days of you're in this town, in Griffin's Rest, and you can kind of do as you please within the town, within reason. So, again, we'll just sort of go from left to right and be like, what have you been doing for the last 2 days, 3 days, and then we'll get into if you guys want to do anything sort of together and whatever, all that business. Ian, what has Zorn been up to for the last 2 or 3 days?
Zorn's primary plan is wondering why he's still inside of a human town, because I'm pretty sure they're just giving him looks the entire time. Like,
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like whatever. There's plenty of like refugees, though. You know, like a lot of dwarves are coming down from the mountain. If they've survived, like the road has been, there's been like little bands of dwarves coming in, throughout the last couple of days, all looking very haggard and beat up. So they're not super surprised at like other races and stuff, but certainly like you're not getting the best looks ever. But as long as you're not stabbing anyone, you're better than the devils.
the other
so.
thing is, what I'd probably be doing to get the nasty looks is that I'm trying to convince all the human settlers that this is the dwarf's fault.
Okay. Okay, so how are you going about this?
Basically, if I notice them like mourning or anything,
Oh my god, please.
It's
I'll
like,
be all like,
it's like open
Oh.
grave. It's like an open grave. Zorn walks up. He's like, the dwarves are the problem.
Wow.
basically, he's gonna be about as subtle as a hammer. Where he just like he recognizes that they're mourning over these things. Where he's like, "Oh, that's terrible that your family is dead," like that sort of stuff. And he's like, "It's a real shame. Dwarves caused this in some way."
Wow.
Like that sort of segue into these things.
That's
He has
actually
no
atrocious.
recognition of life.
Zorn,
and death
Zorn,
and other
Zorn,
things.
Zorn's just like, I'm sorry for your loss. Fuck dwarves.
And a
Should
very
Zorn be
short
eating
and of
an
way of
apple
it.
as he does these things?
All right,
He's not
perfect.
eating apple. He's like doing the basic like. I feel really bad for your loss. Dwarves caused it.
Dwarves.
You know, it wasn't
Right,
the deep.
between those two sentences, put an apple crunch, and it just gets a time better.
Okay, so you need to roll some kind of social something. Like we need like a diplomacy or like a bluff or a...
How would a base charisma check?
All right. What?
This is going to turn out to be the fucking worst.
Damn those dwarves!
Riot.
Necro's just sitting there like, fuck. So it
Kid,
turns
like, oh, no, right.
it turns
Sure.
out that one of the people who you come up to while they're mourning at the grave of their newly dug grave of their beloved wife is the mayor of Griffin's Rest. Let's call him Aldous. So you get Aldous is like he's like a gentlemanly kind of guy. I'm thinking like I don't know what you call it, like not the chin strap, but the one where you have like the beard that goes up into a mustache and then like back down without the you know what I mean, the mustache, like the old west like the old west
Handlebar?
beard. No, it has the mutton chops and like the chin strap, but then there's you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
it ends right in the middle or something.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it like goes up into the mustache and then like one of those
Ah,
ones. I don't know what they're called, but somebody will know, and then they'll
or with sideburns? I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. But anyway,
Beard
it's
enthusiast.
like it's like
Come on.
all joined together. So
A mistake?
he's a mistake. Anyway, so Aldous, he's a gentlemanly kind of fellow, and you come up to him and you go, you do your thing, Ian.
Okay. I'm sorry you have to bury your wife like this, but the dwarves, they just didn't give the devils what they wanted.
The guy sort of is quiet for a little bit. And he goes like, "The dwarfs?
Where do you think the demons went?
You came down from that mountain, didn't you? What happened up there?"
A large army of devils came by. We were told slightly after that they apparently came for the king and the prince or something. I didn't really care for dwarves, but I'm pretty sure it's their fault.
You might be right. Those fucking dwarfs.
Oh my god, all the poor refugees.
Yeah, this basically turns into a bad situation where like they're coming down from the mountain and now the guards are going like, "Hey, go over there," like this is you can camp over there, sort of thing, like not letting them within the city limits. And there's definite racial tension brewing now because Zorn
Zorn is happy as can be.
convinced the
Please.
mayor to do
Oh my god.
bad things.
Please don't turn this into like the Pathfinder version of Hamas.
Necker, you seem like legitimately upset by this.
Well, to be
Like,
fair, Zorn is
I
destroying
can't do it.
all-
Find the humor. Anyway, okay, so is that's gonna be your couple of days, like convincing
Yes,
people?
pretty much what Zorn would be doing over those couple days.
Can't believe
He's
you.
lost the reason to want to
I-
kill
I
himself, so
can't
now he
believe-
wants to ruin dwarves.
I can't believe you rolled a 20 on that charisma
know.
check. It's like a D100 for the freaking prick. Okay. Anyway, so you the dwarves have been like they've got like their own little camp with like tents and stuff outside the city limits now. And it's clear that they're not happy about the fact that they're basically being turned away. And dwarves are, they're like a noble sort of like with honor and sort of culture. So there's kind of a big deal of like, you're not letting us in, really?
Remember all those decades of a solid trade partnership we had?
Yeah, well, exactly. And there's a lot of like, you got my family killed, like sort of stuff going on. And they're like, we didn't do anything. We're just as much affected by this as you, blah, blah, blah. Like all that sort of shit going back and forth. Ferris, what are you up to here for the next 2 or 3
Just-
days?
Quickly, did Elf's camera freeze for anyone else?
Not for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
So
for me though.
Ferris would be just scouting out the city and the surrounding area, also restocking on arrows,
Okay.
if that's okay, if it's possible.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
So you're restocking on arrows and you're scouting the surrounding area. So
Yes.
What? Okay. Well, roll something for scouting.
Survival?
Yeah, that'll do.
I'd also be looking for like any game that I see.
Okay. Well, game-wise, it's a little thin. A lot of animals sort of moved off with all the fighting and so on. But scout-wise, I mean, around this area, there's several other sort of like roads that lead off in various directions. The road kind of comes down from the mountain to here, and then this is a crossroads for like a lot of different places.
Would that give me like an obvious direction of where the devils came from?
You are fairly certain that they didn't come through either of the roads.
Okay.
Or any of the roads, rather,
They're
not
not
either.
voting.
But they may have manifested somewhere more like in the woods, somewhere around here. It may have been some sort of teleport or a portal or like any of that
Right.
stuff.
Yep.
And if you wanted to, you could probably find that location, but it'd take a little bit more time.
Mm-hmm.
As for scouting, I mean, there are a lot of like little groups of people trying to subsist on their own and so on. Like houses been burned down and stuff, so there's like little cabins coming up in the woods and so forth. Though the city itself isn't like physically damaged very much, it was very much like a march through and kill people in the way rather than burn everything to the ground type thing. However, you have been seeing black bilious smoke like coming out of the mountain to the north, like where Hammerfell was. So it's clear that there's been a lot more physical damage there than here, for example.
Okay.
Anything further?
I would like relay whatever I found to the rest of the party, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing else really. Helping, just generally helping out around town, like helping out digging graves or whatever.
Just being a positive contributor.
Exactly.
Yes, like Zorn.
And of course, they're like,
Not like
well, you
Zorn.
can positively help by keeping those dirty dwarves out.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Anyway,
be doing
not
any of
not
that.
not
Yeah.
everybody is like dwarf racist. I'm just trying to give Zorn 20. Not every person is like totally dwarf racist. The dwarves look fairly distraught. Those that you can see, like with the whole damage to their home sort of thing.
Zorn has much more work to do.
So not super great. Anyway, what about Tibbles? What's Tibbles up to here?
Like, this is kind of like a big interest to Tibbles, because Tibbles, like, using illusions and that sort of thing, like, he takes a big interest in people's reactions, and so, like, the loss of family, that's very interesting to him. So, he's pretty much, like, walking around with, like, some meat on a stick, and just, like, taking it all in and noting how people are behaving.
He's just like touristing the
Yeah,
tragedy.
a little. I mean, well, that's kind of what he's doing right now. He's out. I mean,
Oh, that's making them sad.
like exactly, like, ooh, that's how a person looks when they're sad. I can do that, or like maybe I can make someone feel that at some point in my life.
Their face is leaking? What?
Exactly, tears. Tears are important.
So Tibbles is just like
Are you saying you're more sad or mortified?
would you describe yourself as tragically depressed?
Currently both.
I need to understand your facial expressions for future reference.
So let me get this straight. Are you more upset about your children or your wife?
My God.
I wonder if
roll
Existential.
something. You have to roll something because you're just like being an asshole.
it's just like BMing.
Like,
fucking-
No, I'm not. Like, I'm not really engaging people.
Okay, all right.
At 'em. I mean, I can give you a stealth roll to make sure people don't notice me.
No, it's cool. If you're not like actually going up to people and being like super BM to their face,
No, I'm just walking around,
probably fine.
taking it in and taking it all in, just witnessing it.
Cool. Is there anything like active that you want to do? Because this is sort of your chance to take action.
I
so to
would
speak.
like to take like a moment out of my day. I assume this won't take long. I'd like to find like the perfect rock, like a rock that is just small enough to be palmed and smooth and
Plenty
like,
of rocks.
right. I know. I want my rock.
Minus 1 city, plus 200 some rocks.
and like the meat on a stick.
Yeah, this is like, I guess this is like a sling throw's paradise for ammo right now, right?
Pretty much.
I guess that's the most, like, I guess that's the happiest I can look at it. At least a sling
It's
thrower,
this-
at least a sling thrower out there's just had his day,
The
mate.
sling throwers.
Oh,
Alright,
God.
so you find a perfect rock. That's easy to do, like a palm-sized rock.
Yeah.
Is there anything you're particularly doing with this rock, or is it just like, I'll
No,
find a
it's
rock?
just I just like like I'm a gnome. I like to fidget with stuff. I want a rock.
I don't know why,
Us.
but into my
Us.
head just came the let's find a rock. I mean a big ass rock. Maybe something like like the anyway.
As an aside, if it's within 30 feet of the Smith estate, blindness, deafness.
No, I would imagine he's probably no. You just how dare you take my rock? I'm sure.
Crush the stone. You're my rock now.
Bitch. You
But
fuck-
yeah, move on to Paige. Like I'm not up to much. I'm in a weird city. And,
Erringle.
Like,
You find Havel the rock.
Okay, well.
He hits you with the giant dragon. Dude, you die. Anyway, Paige, yes.
It's
What
just pretty
are-
upset.
What are you up to in the next 3 days?
I want to make sure that Ma and Pa Smith have a good send off, and as was agreed, that the central sort of librarian and lore keeper for Griffin Haven was my old man, which is where I've taken up the trade from. I would like to believe that if the town found out that there was a murder there in the family, that there was some attention given to it, and he wasn't just thrown inside one of the mass graves, which would have very easily
Sure,
been
you
opened
know,
up
as
for this
like
sort of
the
thing.
as like the lore master of the city, so to speak. I mean,
Uh,
there's some sort of more.
so I would make sure to be preparing and attending for that because that's pretty important to me.
Yeah,
right
and I
now.
mean, all of this is happening sort of quite quickly in terms of like
Yeah,
people
of
getting
course.
buried and like things getting dealt with. So you don't have to wait too long in terms of
Uh,
you know,
um,
within those 3 days, like your parents are buried and like you sort of have closure in that regard.
I'll be
Um,
a lot of um, finding a lot of closure and comfort in my brother still being alive, and be trying to comfort him. Um,
what about
and
plans of action?
I see the opportunity that I've been given through this grim horror to stand up to what is essentially a story that's been forced upon me.
Hmm.
And given all of the stories that I tried to write before, which essentially, given what was shown last game, is just the sort of trashy Lifetime TV romance. Like that was all she was ever good at writing, as much as she enjoyed storytelling as an art. Um, this is a chance to write a better tale, one where we can find vengeance for those who have been robbed of their life by
Vengeance,
this. I
vengeance,
am
indeed.
I am
Okay,
ultra mad at those devils
I gotcha.
and would like to rally some sort of force
Well,
against this.
the only hint you have about who was leading that army is that he was a knight in silver armor. Uh,
I want to investigate more on this punk ass motherfucker. I want this guy dead.
well, all right then. I can work with that. So, basically, after the burial and so forth, it's like a day of afterwards, um, and the party sort of meets up again, so to speak. And you guys need to do sort of like what's your next move in terms of like as a group and so on. So like in character interaction between the group a little bit, and then I'll sort of see where we're where we're at.
Yeah, I definitely saw first-hand experience of people who could handle a fight, so I'd be looking to get them involved in
Mm-hmm.
rallying up against this Silver Knight. Fuck that guy.
So, well, if Paige approached me, I would definitely be like, well, I have a suspicion that they came from this and this forest, uh, there's also smoke coming out from the mountain. As I assume that like she can see that it's not like
Yeah, I
hidden.
mean it's visible. Like
Yeah.
the fucking Hammerfell is burning. Like this is a city on fire. Like it's coming out the mountain, but you can see like it looks like a volcano over there.
So as far as I can see, we have two options. We can either go and try to figure out where they came from to begin with, or head to the place where they went to see where they went to, left from there.
You're a hunter tracker of sorts, aren't you?
I am.
Would you help find them?
Absolutely, I'm very curious about this. I really want to find out why all this happened and what's behind it.
I would love to help find these people, and will endeavour to do what I can. I might just be a simple storyteller, but
Yeah.
I will find courage in action.
Well, you two are the easy ones. What about What about the two little BM motherfuckers that like walk around making everyone hate them like with every swing of their arms? They're like, la da da, I'm a dick.
Stop.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just educating the local population at who's really at fault here.
Meanwhile, while you're standing around, like one of the dwarves is like literally getting in a fist fight with one of the guards, like the human guards, like at the threshold again. Treat us like real, citizens. Like we've been thrust from our homes, and then like there's like actual fighting happening.
It would appear when you strip someone of their rights, they turn to violence.
He's gone feral. You have to kill him.
Hold on, I have to see if I can
Oh
laugh
my
like
God.
Dibbles.
I would like to intervene on that fight
Yeah.
by casting Lock Gaze on the guard.
The guard or the dwarf?
On the guard?
guard.
Okay.
If I'm in the area, I'd go help break it up as well by just
Just kind of
Picking
getting in
pick
the
up the
middle.
dwarf and force him away.
Good luck picking up a dwarf, but yeah. So you guys sort of
The
intervene.
dwarf's assaulting a police officer.
You,
A peacekeeper.
hang on, let me roll for the guard. So the guard fails the will save. I think it's a will save. Locks gazes.
Enchantment's another action. Will negates.
Yeah, will. Fails the will save. So he's like sort of stuck looking at you, and the dwarf sort of backs up when like the there's no like sort of engagement, and Ferris is like holding him back a little bit. Like, go like the guard who's looking at you is like, we can't just like let them sit out here. Right.
I'll sort of like I'll gesture to like get him to calm down. And I'll wander over and I'll voluntarily drop the spell effect.
Yeah.
Once the aggression's dispersed.
Which actually
And
doesn't
I'll-
take that long. It's very much like sort of they were about to get in a fist
Yeah,
fight,
yeah.
and now they're not.
I'm going to Paige has been pretty insular to a lot of the rumours that have been flying about because she's been dealing with her own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Over the last couple of days. So I'll go up to the guy, like, what is the problem here? What is going on?
The guard's like, well, we can't allow the dwarven refugees from Hammerfell within the city limits. We already have enough mouths, and the resources are spread thin. And the mayor said that we should not be admitting any new people into the city limits.
This meat on a
Right.
stick is delicious.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I'll sort of like just like shove that to one side.
Fuck.
Like
It's like
I'll go to
Tibbles
the-
is evil on an entirely different level of me.
I'll go
Two
to
different kinds of
I'll look at the dwarf and I was like, well, what can you expect from us here?
I'm sorry. I missed the last bit.
Well, I'll turn to the dwarf and say, what are you expecting from us here? What can we do to help?
Look, we've just lost our own homes, back up the mountain. We're just looking to be treated like regular people here. We don't need any special treatment. Just let us in the
Oh,
city.
I'll gesture towards.
I believe I could offer a suggestion.
In a minute. I'll gesture towards like the surrounding area. You need to remember that Hammerwatch was 5-6 times the size of Griffinhaven. Whether the destruction affected 50% of you or not, if you all come down the mountain looking to leave your homes and find home here, what can you expect from us? We don't have the placement here to take you all in. I want to help, I genuinely do, but understand what you're asking of us.
Yeah, he sort of like grunts and he's like, "Oh, fucking, didn't think you'd listen anyway," and he sort of like wanders away. It's just like, angry dwarf muttering sort of
Yeah,
thing.
sure.
Tibbles, you're gonna say something?
Where I come from, the homeless are often considered a good source of cheap labor. Willing to do almost any job for very minimal pay.
The dwarf sort of turns around and goes like, "We didn't say we wouldn't work, you know. If there's something to be done, repairs, we're pretty handy."
It seems like the situation where the humans and the dwarves should be working together, not petty squabbling.
Zorn.
They should be.
But anyway, they sort of, he sort of walks away after that. The guards are, they're under orders basically to keep him out. And they're not particularly happy with the situation either. It's just like more to look after and more to deal with. And they're not, dwarves got this reputation for being rowdy as well.
Stubborn.
And yeah, just like generally not super great citizens anyway. So
Almost act with some sort of stunted charisma. I'll just sort of like, yeah, I'll turn to the guard and say like, you're gonna have to like lighten up on those guys. These people have lost just as much as we have. To the extent where they actually have to leave their homes. At least you've still got yours.
True enough. I'm not fighting with them because I want to. I'm just doing what I'm sort of told to do, and especially in a time of crisis, it's a matter of consistency. It's a matter of protocol.
Just saying something, maybe a bit more empathy and a bit less brainless order following. Maybe another.
Yeah.
I'll just sort of shake my head and turn to leave. I've got other things to deal with.
Without the law, the land falls into chaos. I recommend letting the guards do their job.
Like, not going to register it as a statement.
They don't have to agree with it. They just have to keep the aggressive dwarves outside, where they can build their little shanties if they want to stay nearby, but not be a problem of the town.
Zorn is amazing. He is just like this racist fucker. And I mean, for good reason. He's been like abused by dwarves his whole life, sort of thing. So that kind of makes sense. I like it. I do.
I'm still hung up on dwarven
I know.
shanties.
Sounds like sea tales, like
Sounds like a really good beer to me.
dwarven boating songs. A really good beer, dwarven shanty. Yeah, sort of does. It's like the dwarven sea.
I couldn't remember what the name for those little.
No, that's true.
Cardboard boxes,
They are
but I
like
thought they were
shanties.
shanties.
It's shanty towns,
Shanty.
yeah.
Alright.
I feel that the best line we should be taking is if you're wanting the dwarfs to find their home again, is to help them claim it back.
They really don't deserve a home.
Look, you belittling little shit. I can't want to hear with you.
I'm just saying, dwarves are at the source of most of the world's problems.
I'm
Shouldn't you be
just saying,
getting
if the
killed by some
dwarven
level
culture
2
believes so
adventurers?
firmly in slavery, maybe they should give it a try from the other end for a while.
Whoa.
Zorn's gonna perk up at that idea. Cool.
I just want to make
Turning
sure.
that-
Okay,
At this,
I am just guys.
dwarves.
Before we continue, okay, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that everybody in this party, we're out of character. We're friends, okay?
yep.
Oh yeah,
Let's-
of course, of course.
Let's
of course.
not. Let's not.
A little shit at
No,
any
I'm-
point. in this
No, no.
campaign.
I'm having fun
I'm
the
just-
entire
oh,
time.
me
I'm
too.
totally willing to have Paige kick me.
Me
if
too.
that's
I'm
what
just
happens.
making sure that is, the case. This is all in
yes,
character.
yes, yes.
Like, as long as that's
Yeah.
the case, I will make sure everybody's having fun. Keep going, please. I love this. This is great.
Yeah, drama's just as fun as comedy to act.
At this point, when he perks up, first we go, "Oh, you were a slave before? How did you end up in that position?"
Well, you see, dwarves don't like nearby allies, I guess.
Nearby allies? What do you mean?
You see, my tribe didn't have enough space for the entirety of the Kobold Society in a certain area, so we moved to a nearby mountain. The
Near
dwarves
the
did not consider our claim to be righteous, I guess, and they decided to kill everyone I knew and enslave me because they just happened to catch me instead of killing me.
So you tried to annex their mountain for yourself?
No.
No, no.
No, with a small force of kobolds, weren't you listening?
I'll turn around and
I'm
like,
saying we decided to take a mountain. The dwarves didn't agree with us.
I'll just like as a sort of like turn around.
I'd like to
snappy
point
quick-
out that the
Hey,
dwarves
hey, guys.
are now
let's-
more alive than my allies
Let's
were.
not talk over each other, okay? Necro, you want to say something?
Yeah.
As a turn around snappy comment, I'll just say like you're an invasive little species from in a fucking abandoned city that no one wants. Not even your own people want it. So you went to take somewhere else by force. Like this is documented.
Paige is just like so mad.
I can just see her like pulling out notes. Look, it's right here. I've done all the research.
I would like to point out that kobolds
I don't give a
do not
shit.
have slaves. Dwarves do.
I'd also like to point out that history can be distorted by those who have written it. I assume you've read dwarven texts on the subject.
Yes,
No,
how many
they-
kobold texts do you have?
How many kobold texts exist?
This is
I'd
just
really
how it
like to
came
know
from a-
because I don't know
like,
if I have any.
I'm just feeling absolutely so tempted. Right?
How am I gonna get this party to stick together? That's a good question, Irgo.
What's the population of this
Put it
encampment, by the way?
and just like as a direct, no questions asked threat. Like, if you continue to spread all of your hatred, your lies, your complete and utter distortion of truth, I will render you blind and deaf for the rest of your days.
At a completely different point, Ferris would genuinely go, "Your people are capable of written communication?"
It's just like kobolds write things.
I think I saw someone write something. And to you, Bard. Very well. If you decide to gouge out my eyes and plug my ears or something, I guess you're no better than them.
I'll protect my people as much as you try to protect yours. You hateful little monster. Storm off.
Your people who would turn the dwarves out into the cold.
Fucking Tibbles.
Not even gonna do anything about that right
Twisted, self-righteous humans.
Oh my god, we're so bitter.
I don't know what I'm gonna be able to do here.
I'm going back and I'm going to start rallying we'll call him Jackson, my brother, to give
Yeah.
him a name. And I'm going to head to the mayor and I'm going to put forward a case that we should be working towards a unison with the East Dwarfs to get their home back for the benefit of our city, their city, and to get rid of this evil monstrosity that has befilled this area of the land.
All right, perfect. Okay, so you come to the mayor's sort of like current abode. The town hall has been smashed up a little bit, so he's not like there, but
Sure.
it's like a residence, and he's at a desk and he's sort of like, how can I help you, Paige? I know it's been a trying time, but we'll pull through.
This is actually what I'm here to speak with you about. It came to my attention that there has been a rather aggressive stance taken towards the refugees coming, And whilst I don't agree with it, I find it understandable. What I am here to suggest is that we work in tandem with our dwarven allies who have been our allies for decades and work to retrieve their homes, work to retrieve what was taken from them and taken from us, and force justice upon these wretched creatures which have came through to claim whatever they think is theirs and fight back against them.
I agree on the idea of seeking vengeance. You know, having had his wife killed, he's kind of down for that. But I need you to roll a diplomacy, Necra, or like a.
I will perform oratory because
That
of,
is also fine.
the skill swap thing.
You were saying it to him.
Well, oratory, like a story, like a.
Yeah,
speech.
perform oratory can be
Okay.
used in place of diplomacy. Because you
History should not repeat itself. And blah, blah, blah.
not profession perform plus 12, and then I go to this.
Do you remember the story of the greedy human? He denied all the dwarves. And then he died.
Thank God
interesting.
you beat the charisma roll.
And then re-elections came, and it didn't look well for him.
Anyway, so he goes. I agree, and the dwarves have put forth a proposal that they want to work, you know, within the city for, you know, fair pay
Of course.
while they're here, and I think that the easiest way for them to do this would be to help us reclaim their home, which I'm sure they're eager to do. So we'll use
Yeah,
them as troops, I suppose.
Sort of like eye up the term troops. Like we shouldn't employ them to work as an army. We should work with them as a joint force.
This is more what I meant.
Sure.
You know,
Uh-huh.
it gets them out of our hair, and it gets them working towards a goal that they would also like to achieve. I'm not going to be the first one to say that losing Hammerfell impacts our area of the world in an incredibly negative way.
Yeah.
As
of
it being a
course.
major trade center and so forth, it's bad if we don't reclaim it.
Yeah, with no Hammerfell, there's going to end up being no Griffin Haven.
Exactly.
And that's the long and short of it.
All right. Well, I'll see what I can do, and figure something out with the dwarves as well as with the local constabulary.
I would happily work as some form of diplomat to bond these shattered ties together.
I appreciate the volunteering, and I'm sure I'll take you up on it. However, let me make the first suggestions, and I'll get back to you if I need you for anything particular. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So after that, he sort of, you know, sends you out.
And I leave.
And yeah, so basically over the next couple of days, it's a matter of like getting everything together to head back to Hammerfell, you know. And that smoke has been clearing a little bit in terms of it's getting thinner and less black, though it's still coming out, billowing out of the mountain. And the dwarves have been sort of, you know, they've got their own gear and they're outfitted and they're ready to go, like as soon as the whistle blows, so to speak. You know, assume that you've been talking with, you know, some of them and, you know, going back and forth a little bit. We don't need to sort of dwell on that too much.
Sure.
But it's looking like, you know, a combination of the dwarven refugees that can fight, those that aren't wounded, those that aren't, you know, too young or too old or whatever, are getting ready to sort of go back to Hammerfell along with human contingent, you know, in that regard. So you are free to do as you wish when this happens, but like they're going to head out soon, you know, up towards the mountain. Whether you go with them or not is, you know, entirely up to you.
I want to go with them.
Paige wants to go with them, of course, but we have the other three who maybe are not so eager.
Was there like I assume
If
they're kind
I
of
see-
doing like conscripting for this sort of thing, right?
Kind of, but
Because I
it's
mean, you're saying like children can't do it, obviously. So
well, it's like it's all of the dwarves are volunteers in terms of
Right.
like they want their home back and they're proud, honorable people. So if they can fight, it's kind of like you have to. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, totally.
Yeah, those guys
I'm
are
more
a pretty
bent on, like,
easy
the
sell.
team.
yeah. When it comes to it's sort of an open call for volunteers. Like anybody who wants to assist is like welcome. You know.
Volunteer is a rough word for Tibbles.
Yeah, but also, who knows what's waiting in Hammerfell? Like this is a trade city that has fallen. This is a
that's all.
trade city that has nobody guarding anything because it's a fucking wreck.
Actually, can I talk to Zorn for 1 second here?
Of course.
Zorn!
Fireball.
Yes.
Hello, my friend.
Yes, Tibbles. What do you want?
You said you spent years as a slave in that city, correct?
Fireball.
Yes, I spent
like-
quite some time
So,
under their boot.
would you be aware of any, say, treasures the city might hold?
There's nothing worth anything in that city. It could collapse onto itself and nobody would feel any less.
Now, as a person who is not a slave of dwarves, you are aware that there are expensive objects definitely within the city. Like there are valuable things, and if not dwarven, at least like people that have come to trade these things, in markets and so forth. So basically, what you're hearing from him is, "There's nothing I want," like.
I'm just
Basically-
saying, you don't like these people, I know, correct?
No, I don't like them at all.
Right.
I'm
so
surprised that
as
that was not
they head to
like-
their home to engage in combat, what better circumstance would there be to rob them blind?
Soren, like.
I just don't think I'm the sort to be the, how do I put it, the effector? The ones to cause pain and suffering to dwarves. I would be glad if the devil stayed and made that their new home. And I would love to watch the dwarves futilely walk up and die in their own home. But I just wouldn't be the one to do it. If you're asking if I'm willing to go to the Hammerfell with you, of course. I want to see the dwarves die.
I'm in it for the money. However,
He's
Good
got.
job.
I love hearing. Okay, if there were a piece of artwork that I would want from this session, it is Tibbles going, "I'm in it for the money," with the dead bartender's hat on, with like the feather, like just
I forgot about that.
looking like a total jackass. Just
however, the other two that we've been traveling with, I noticed they don't have the same etiquette that you and I have.
I'm
think-
not sure about the cat. I mean, he's probably a stand-up guy. But the whore is pretty annoying.
oh!
I just
Wow.
feel that perhaps
I think.
we should mask our tone when we discuss our reasons for going to Hammerfell. I
Yes,
don't
I'm
know.
going to try to avoid speaking with the female as much as possible. She seems to be twisted and willing to gouge out people's eyes when they speak.
Well then, you and I are on the same page.
Wow. Fireball.
It's a good
One of
thing.
these days,
It's a
wow.
good thing. This is a private conversation.
Totally.
Like, one of these days, Serenru will answer my prayers and fireball the absolute living fuck out the pair of you. But until that day,
Until that day, I have to live with you like a pair of very annoying little brothers.
Also, have you tried this meat on a stick? It's phenomenal.
That's
What
the
guys
other.
need to do
That's
that?
the other thing that needs to be in the picture. It has to be. I'm in it for the money. Hat, feather, meat on a stick.
I would imagine it's goat.
In one lunchtime, this is going to be a walking Ken.
They don't cannibalize the dead in this city, do they?
Well,
I hope not.
This has just turned into like idle,
I
terrible
don't know very much
conversation.
about human society. Maybe
Nor
it's a
do
case by
I.
case.
and I remember when I was invited to this campaign, and I said, "Nah, we won't make it an evil player campaign."
Well,
Keeping the options open. I'm not very well informed.
I'm not evil. I'm naive.
I'm not. I'm not evil. I'm just keeping my options
To
open.
the consequences of my actions.
Okay.
At some point, like towards the end of the conversation, Ferris would be walking up towards them and being like, "Are you guys following with us? I saw you fight in the bar. You could be very handy on the way."
Oh, absolutely. We're willing to aid in the
Yes,
cause.
of course. I'd love to go back to the dwarf city and... Wait, you were trying to help them, right?
I'm going to investigate.
Okay, I'm much more willing to get behind that. Investigate.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, if Tibbles had worked out, I would have like at some point walked up to Zord and be like, "You could go and find out if the devils want to exterminate all dwarves on the planet. You could make sure that they want to murder everyone." Ooh.
I'm always on the lookout for powerful allies.
Basically, you could say like maybe the head demon devils are there, and you can thank them in person.
I'm just waiting for the opportunity to give a contract to Zorn. I'm just waiting for the opportunity. It's just gonna be
Ferris
really,
would also be in
really
contact with
easy.
the group heading out
Mhm.
to see if they need like a scout to go ahead.
Yeah, and of course, like the whole group sort of moves out together. You know, it's like a
Mhm.
little bit of a column. And assuming we can do this now, anybody have anything in the town that they want to do further, or are we at a good point? Can I move things forward, so to speak?
I'm good.
Find
I
out
have my
if
rock.
I'll find
I'm happy.
I'll find out if my dad had any sort of scrolls or anything that he kept. Probably be greatly disappointed. Dad, why you know keep high level spell scrolls?
Well, actually, your father has 2 scrolls of Mage's Perusal, because reading through books faster is
Yeah, that stuff is awesome.
good.
Imagine reading a library in minutes. Whoa,
I know, you just touch a book and then you know as much as having read it for like an hour.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, Necra, you might like. This is out of character, but if Ferris did come up to you and see you looking through the library, you'd be like, "Look for books on the demons that look like the ones we had, like we saw."
That's a shout, actually. That's a really good shout. I will also do that after finding out
I
what the
was
second scroll
wondering.
is.
I was
Yeah.
wondering if you were.
I was
gonna
just
do any
making
research.
sure that you were gonna do that right now.
Paige has been distracted with
Yes.
Okay,
one thing and another.
so
On the travel up, I'm assuming we're among a bunch of dwarves, right?
dwarves and humans, yeah. But anyway,
I will
let's do
try
the
to communicate. Oh, yeah.
do the research first because that's before we leave.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I'll do that first.
Sorry.
That's cool. Okay, so you do look through the library for books that are involved in devils, and of course, the first place you go when you're looking for devils is Asmodeus, because Asmodeus is the
Just that
lawful
guy's-
evil deity of evil, and tyranny and contracts and stuff. So if they're devils and not demons, this is your guy. So roll for me something that you would use when searching through a library. So I would accept maybe perception or related knowledges. Like a knowledge religion would be the best.
I'm just seeing if I have a spell that helps here. Sift doesn't actually help here.
Well, you have 2 copies of
Yeah.
Mage's Perusal.
Yes, I could use.
Although
I'll find the
those
books.
are
I need
only
to find, yeah,
those are
those are
only
only good if I find the books.
well, they're also only really useful if you have a time constraint. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
you might as well just read
Ah.
it if you've got the time.
I will. I don't know. I guess I'll use my knowledge religion.
Yes.
Is it? I couldn't. I thought it was knowledge planes, but
Also
oh no, 'cause
acceptable.
yeah, because I'm
Knowledge
not looking
religion for
at
Asmodeus, knowledge planes for
the devils themselves.
the infernal planes. Like.
Yeah, cool. So that's a +10 roll. Plus one, two more because of my ability / roll 1d20 plus 12.
Disclaimer,
I get that.
disclaimer, guys. The knight in silver armor is completely my fabrication, so it's not in any Pathfinder books or anything like that. Even just making sure you have any idea
Custom
about that.
bestiary creature? What?
I know, right?
How is that possible?
No, but I just.
What do you think
just,
you are?
Just,
Some kind of god creating
just,
life?
Just so you don't go like, well, this isn't actually in the books anywhere about gods or anything.
This must be an apocalypse night.
No.
It's almost like you get.
Oh,
It's almost like you get to create your own lore.
No, I mean I'm just look. Some of it I've
anti-paladin with the infernal template and the bubonic plague.
motherfuckers. Okay. Anyway, so 31, is that knowledge religion or planes?
Religion.
Religion? Okay. Well, you know that definitely this is an army of hell. This is an army from under Asmodeus's domain. He is a god of tyranny and evil and just general bad things. Lawful evil though. So the devils are not likely to be rampaging necessarily without a goal, Maybe once that goal is fulfilled, they'll disappear. Who knows? But Asmodeus is well known for enforcing his contracts with lethal efficiency. In terms of he'll make a deal. He's happy to make a deal, even a deal that looks good to you. Even a deal that looks really favorable. It might turn sour over the years when you suddenly realize that it was a bad plan, but at the time, might be looking good, and he's happy to do that. So from what you've heard, there's probably a deal gone wrong involved in here somewhere, involving the king, something like that. But that's more for that. More of that later. What you know about Asmodeus is that. Hang on. I have to look something up. Okay. What you know about Asmodeus is, of course, that he is the ruler of hell. His symbol is an upside down star. He his worshippers usually wear black and red, often including horn masks or helmets. Very horns are a thing, and that sort of black and red is the deal. And other than that, other than the specific devils that you could encounter, that's kind of what you know about the god himself. You know that there are groups of humans within this world that definitely worship him.
Cheliax springs to mind.
Well, Cheliax, yeah, but I mean that's assuming we're in Galarian, which we're not. You know what I mean?
Oh right, okay, sure.
So yeah, exactly. But similarly, Anyway, as you're looking through, you do find reference to the Knight in Silver Armor, however. This being his title and his name, apparently, just like the Knight in Silver Armor.
Okay.
Who is one of the rather more, not, I would say middle management almost of Hell, in terms of
Sure.
he's the guy that you send when you need to get your shit done. But you don't really feel like going on it, doing it yourself. He's like the debt collector. He's your repo man of hell. And he's got his own little group of guys who are probably this army that he has following him around.
Would I be able to rationalize a sort of parallel to this guy as Archons are to their good
Yes, very
counterparts?
very much so. Yeah. he's sort of your he's like almost like a herald but for evil, you know.
Wow. Cool guy.
Yeah, but lawful evil. So rational evil.
Okay.
Nobody has ever seen him without his armor. Whether or not it's possible, you don't know. It's usually around 7 feet tall, sort of like big guy. Wields a great sword that has nasty looking demonic runes on it that you probably don't want to touch. Yeah, he's sort of an all-round nasty dude, though has been known to talk with mortals in the past. Like people have survived conversations with him. So it's not a matter of like, well, I see you now, you're dead, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
Which means he can be rationalized with.
Sorta.
Kind of. As much as you can reason with a god.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like he's got direct orders from his superior to do things.
Yeah,
You're
like
just
what I mean is like
below him.
what I mean is like I can rationalize with this guy a lot more than I could say with his like demon counterpart.
Yeah, very very much so. Like the demon counterpart would be like, go nuts, and then just like release it onto the world and it just murders everything, sort of thing. Like
Fucking.
a demon on the level with this guy would be kind of like walking around smashing the shit out of everything. Like just kind of like, oh, chaos and destruction, okay, I'm on it, and Four Horsemen style, just like everywhere, smashing everything, wave of destruction. This guy's very much more like, well, you have a job to do, pick up the package, get it.
Yeah.
I don't really care exactly what you do on the way there, but do that, and then come back to me.
This is the less BM variant.
Yeah, this is sort of like the more controlled evil.
Right, no, that's cool. That's good information.
Oh my god, did Talek
It did.
Did Talek just link it?
Yep.
Did this actually happen? Tibbles,
Like,
Peepers, I hope you click that link.
I think people should be Tesh is a very good tag. He looks like Raz from Sherlock.
That's so good.
oh my god.
Oh man, I have to actually show it on stream so that it gets like immortalized within the video I'm recording. I asked for it and it was delivered. Look at this. So good. All right. Anyway.
Right, and then I would like to attempt to gather a similar level of knowledge about the devils themselves, which we might potentially encounter.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, like, do I have time to take 20 on this?
Yeah. I mean, if you're sort of like doing the research, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I mean.
And
I know that they're leaving.
Technically, you could even read the book on like the ride there. I think.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's not really like a big deal. You can take 20 if you want. It's all good.
Yeah, just.
Basically, like what you learn about these devils is you're looking at a series of fairly challenging devils, depending on like how high or how low you look. The army of the Knight in Silver Armor is generally made up of host devils, which are sort of like your ghoulish devil foot soldiers, very much like the larger one that you saw in the tavern, the sort of like guy with the ranseur and the 2 pairs of arms. A lot of these devils have resistance to everything except good aligned things, so they have like resistant DR basically. Very difficult to kill. Permanently, because even when you kill them, they're sent back to their like home plane, unless you're doing like specific paladin-y, cleric-y, smitey things, or fighting them in hell. If you kill them in hell, then they're dead.
Dimensional anchor?
Yeah, dimensional anchor.
Wow.
The twins, man.
That
For the-
spell has
for the-
cost so many in-game arguments.
For those of you who remember the twins. But anyway, so you know that they're very difficult to kill, and these host demons are usually accompanied by several lesser host demons, like the smaller ones that you saw, which are sort of small devils, very typical sort of like small devil with a spear type guys,
Sure.
who are a little bit easier to deal with. But all in all,
Okay.
most of them can fly too. Like they have wings. And there are some other small variations, but honestly, like mostly it's host devils that you're gonna find.
Sure.
And you see it referred to, if you're looking specifically, as the knight in the silver armors, like legion. So you're expecting something like in the hundreds, of devils.
Yeah.
Rather than like a grand army of like thousands and thousands or anything. It's like like within the hundreds.
This is a tactical force, not an overwhelming army.
Yeah.
Right,
Well, as
okay.
tactical as hundreds of devils can be.
Yeah, like if you put into perspective that they're probably from a realm of millions that all
Yeah, well,
work
exactly.
together.
This is like a very small portion of forces that could be brought to bear. But this is just the repo guy, like I said. This isn't an invasion necessarily. This is just Hell's repo guy. What's up,
cool.
Tibbles?
Just kind of like a question I think I might have noticed from the last session, but didn't really ask. When we slew the devils, did their bodies drop to the ground, or did they fade from the plane?
They dropped to the ground.
All right, good enough.
Indeed. I think I might know what you're getting at with that question. It's interesting that you've decided to ask that, but very cool. I like it.
I will take that knowledge, and assumably, because all of the research was done quite late. Well, not necessarily the research was done quite late, but the act in doing so has made it quite late.
Yeah.
I want to quickly find whatever church would be here. I'd imagine it's some sort of good / lawful church.
Oh yeah, church in
Griffin Haven.
Griffin Haven. There's a couple of options. You got your typical like sort of Serenray and Abadar, and there's a couple of like temples, like smallish, but it's a city. It's a fairly prosperous city. So there's a couple of different churches.
And I will bring forward my research information to them, and ask for all help that they could give in this time of need.
The cleric.
And
the cleric of Serenray is a jowly man. Very, very sort of, he looks a bit like a bulldog. In terms of like, you got the droopy face sort of thing, and he goes, of course, if you're headed into combat with devils, then I'll do everything that I can to assist you in any way possible. He basically like comes with you, but like goes to the force that is going to be going towards the mountain, like goes with you to meet them, and sort of prays with them, like may the light of Serenray, blah 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 blah, and he personally blesses the weapons of many of the troops, including you and including the three of you who aren't doing this conversation, which will allow you 20 charges each of DR bypass by good.
so our weapons get treated as good for 20 charges.
For 20 charges.
And what type of action is it to use a charge?
Just say you're using a charge.
Just say
like
Serenray home dog, give us a slice of that action.
Yeah, basically like when you attack, just say like I'm using DR bypass, and then just mark it off.
Cool. Right. Sweet. I'll mark that down just now.
This is this is only for good. Like if they had DR adamantine or something, it wouldn't do anything. But it's only for good.
Does all doesn't alter strength or dex?
All right. So, anything else?
DR.
Anything further?
I guess I got everything that I could possibly hope for from him. Unless he wants to, like, literally start blessing, enchanting weapons that cost thousands of gold to
No,
do,
that's
then
not gonna happen.
I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah.
That's not gonna happen.
Try.
All right.
I mean, like,
So, Yin, you were gonna do something on the way there because you guys are like headed out now. The column is moving towards Hammerfell, back the way you've come. So I remember you were gonna say something, and then I was like, "Let me do the research first."
Yes.
So, whatever it is that you wanted to do, now is the time.
fireball.
In a public place, like, just to make sure that she doesn't scream some spell and make me deaf. Or blind or whatever. I'm gonna be talking with Paige on the way there. Like, basically, I'll just start a conversation with you, okay?
Right.
Paige, I'd like to be the humane one here, and try to get
Oh,
you
so
to
I will, like,
understand.
I will immediately eye this question up.
Whoa, that's a radical change.
I'm super intrigued.
Regardless, I'm trying to be the good person here, and I'd like you to understand why I hate dwarves so much. Will you give me that chance at the very least?
I will listen to you. I will listen to your tale.
Great. You see, during my first days as a kobold enslaved in a dwarvish population, their first act was to put me in a room full of my dead comrades. They expected me to eat them for sustenance. They quickly changed my confinement to a cage when I tried to hang myself with their intestines. The following years, there have been various mishaps. My attempts at escaping, not getting very far, being beaten into submission. As a result of trying to escape, of course. But my most memorable times were when they used me at children's parties. You see, they would strip me down to my scales, tie me to a small post, give dwarven children a bunch of sticks, and tell them to slay the dragon. They beat me into unconsciousness and cheered all along. I hate dwarves. They are inhuman in every meaning of the word, and just because they are seen as non-invasive, they should not be treated better.
I
hope you know who you're standing by when you say, I am the one in the wrong here.
I would suggest that whilst your case is by no means an example of how people should act, it's a horrific tale, then my only words of solace that I can offer you, and if you don't take them, then I would understand, is that you have encountered a select group of a wider race who, for the most part, have bettered our world. But like in every orchard there are poisoned apples, and I think that you have bitten into one of those. You need to respect that because one member of or a group of a member of a race has acted in such a manner, it is not befitting to suggest that the entire race acts as though, when it's not the case.
The dwarves of that city tacitly agreed to my suffering by allowing it to continue.
their actions were not right. I wouldn't condone what they did. I wouldn't tell you what they did was correct. But the actions of a few do not speak for the many. The silent minority, the silent majority. Sorry, my tongue's getting tied.
That's cool.
The vocal minority do not speak for the silent majority on these actions.
Tibbles is like, I want to
I
do
wish I
something.
had
You got your
an
hand up
naive
there.
perspective of the world such as you. But I cannot.
And I'll cut the conversation off unless Dibbles wants to.
Tibbles, what you got, buddy?
While your story is terrifying and gross, I'm glad to have met a friend who is ingenuitive enough to think of using intestines as rope. That's incredible!
As Zon goes to end the conversation, if you try to poison the minds of my people again, though, I will see that you won't have to suffer anymore.
I did not poison anyone's minds. I told them the truth, and they reacted passionately.
This isn't a warning. This is a promise.
Okay, conversation over. Let's not do further.
Let's not go there.
Let's not do further things. It's perfect, like movie line ending conversation. Like fucking
Fade
we're
to
ally.
black,
Yep,
the meat on the stick.
this whole thing just makes me think of the like we're friends, but I hate you. you know, like the like
This is like
anime
every-
anti-hero
I was
thing.
gonna say, this is like every bad anime I've ever
Zorn
watched.
Zorn is like the Seto Kaiba to the like Page Yugi here, bitter rivals for different things, but one is essentially good and one is essentially a douche.
Yeah, it's sort of like in World of Warcraft when the undead, when Arthas started becoming the Lich Kings. Like everyone in the Alliance and the Horde sort of went, right, guys, this is a bigger thing up here. We should probably go deal with
this.
that.
Yeah.
we need a priority
Oh, so
here.
good. So good.
So
But you
Ferris
kind of
would
out of
have-
hand.
Yeah, this guy's an issue.
We should probably deal with him fairly soon. Anyway, so cool. Anything further on the way there, or is that sort of the deal?
Whatever books I've picked up, I'll be browsing over to try and keep the knowledge fresh.
Have you informed the rest of the party of anything that you learned, or are you just...
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna
yes,
ask
sorry. When my attempts to bring the priest, the cleric, or whatever his title is, to the the group as a whole, like all of the troops, as a sort of attempt to say and share, like this is what you're going to deal
this
with.
is what we gotta fight with, yeah, okay.
This is not a session. This is not a training session. This is a horrible consequence. These are the types of things that you will have to deal with. This is the target.
This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a
This is
drill.
not a drill.
This is not a drill. Okay, so the column, and by the way, guys, I'm sorry that like I don't have a lot of resource for you. You're just kind of staring at a screen. Right now,
it's-
I actually have a different one for you. Let me get it for you.
Snow devils.
I would like to think that the drama and story is enough to enrapture the audience.
Well, I mean, they're looking at something else. but this is
I'm
like
a
sort
nurse
of this
right
is like
now.
sort of the
Yeah.
mountainside. You know what I mean? Like this is sort of like the roads that you'd be going up, sort of green mountainside sort of area. You know, scattered buildings, farms, and so on. Though it's a little more wrecked than it looks here. Like, you know, there's been an army walk through here recently.
This was at like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, this is like during the idyllic periods of fortunate trade and so forth. But you know, here you are. This is sort of your geography. So you're making your way towards Hammerfell, and you know the smoke is still sort of rising. You can see, and you make your way to the like front gate, which is like a big, dwarven front gate to a mountain city. You're looking at like sort of like your big stone doorway, with like engravings of like dwarf faces in it, and like the lineage of the
Sure.
clans and so forth, all there.
Wait,
How
all-
many kobolds did it take to carve that into the mountain, I wonder?
I don't think the dwarves need kobolds to do that, but anyway, as you're arriving, you can see the dwarves are sort of like, yes, our home, we're gonna like claim it back and like fuck devils and stuff, or like they look like they're ready for a fight. They're like spoiling for a fight. You can see them sort of nudging each other and being like, oh yeah, like yeah.
I might not have the inspire competence ability, but I will be sharing my knowledge. Like I'll be sharing some form of tale to rally the troops.
Sure, you're just going like, remember in the history
Remember that time when the
books.
dwarves beat up those not dwarves?
Yeah. Yeah, remember that time when you fought off 1,000 goblins? Like that shit.
Specifically, not naming kobolds.
Yes.
Like being very specific to
Okay.
not.
Remember that
any-
time you took over Zorn's particular kobold clan's place? That
They
was
left it
really
because it was
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, good times, guys. Good times.
The brightest day in dwarven history!
Fuck.
Anyway, not doing that.
Enslavement of the
So,
Oh no.
so you make your way towards the doors, and you can see sort of that smoke is like pouring out the top. Clearly inside there are things that are on fire, or smoldering.
Uh huh.
My overlay is off. Really? What?
On stream, it's like a little. The camera shots are a little to the left for some reason.
Middle mouse scroll to fix it. It's not doing anything.
I don't know why I clicked my middle mouse as if I thought I would fix it.
Oh, I got it. I fixed it. It's cool. We're fine.
Cool. Sweet.
I'm the greatest. Thanks, guys. Anyway, we're good. So, continuing. Yeah, you see that there are several sort of dwarven corpses and in like piles by the doors, like a big fucking wood stick through the middle of these piles, as well as the sign of Asmodeus, the upside down sort of pentacle, painted on the like post.
Or like Asmodeus.
More like Asmodeus. Indeed. There are several of the corpses hanging from the giant stone doors by their feet, like tied, their ankles tied, and then like it tethered to the top of the door, so they're sort of hanging upside down. Clearly dead. I mean, all these dwarves are clearly dead. Of varying gender as well, male and female, doesn't seem to matter. It's a gruesome picture, and there's a lot of blood and nasty stuff. But it doesn't seem to dissuade your dwarven companions. In fact, it seems to sort of steal their resolve in regards to attacking or getting in there and seeing what's happening.
We are 10 out of 10 definitely wanting to screw these guys up.
This is going to smell horrible in a few days.
Yes, it will.
Someone goes, excellent.
Anyway, so heading inside, the column moves forward a little. Everybody's sort of huddled close because you're not sure what to expect, like just inside here. And heading inside, you see a lot of sort of smoldering ruin of like the open area of the front entrance of this place. Whoa, what's up, Tibbles? I
Your
can't
mic's
hear you.
off.
Your mic's
Yep.
off.
Sorry. Since we're entering the city, could I cast mage armor on myself?
Of course. Okay. Now I'm getting echo off of you.
What?
I can hear myself. Oh, well, now it's gone. Okay. I don't know. So anyway, you make your way into the city, cast mage armor. Cool. And you sort of see in the open area like a lot of rubble and a lot of destroyed buildings and stalls smashed and all kinds of things like in this area. there's a couple of things that seem to be sort of like smoldering out on fire, and it's clear that it's been like almost clear cut, like like through here everything has been destroyed like in a path, like as they've come through. You don't see any sign of like live devils or anything like that. You don't see any live dwarves either. There are a lot of corpses. They have not been cleaning up after themselves. Like wherever someone has died, their corpse is still there. Like nobody has moved anything.
Wait, then what about the corpse piles at the entrance?
Well, other than that, maybe.
Like drag them from the opposite side of the city?
Yeah. Shut up.
Okay.
Those corpses are for decoration.
A lot of people died.
They brought their corpses from home. Okay.
It's like The Sims, where you just kind of click and there's corpses there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like this
Yeah,
fucking
you just-
IKEA corpse section.
Yeah.
Some assembly required.
I need 20 male dwarf corpses, 10 female.
They're always missing like a toe or something.
Yeah.
But anyway,
One's leg is on backwards.
so what's your plan, guys?
I will be, I guess, like, Paige isn't really a great tactician, so
Well,
don't
let
think I would
me
be
let
the-
me provide you with like sort of common sense choices right now. Just because like you're in a city, you've just come in. Your sort of options are, you could look for survivors. If there are survivors, they're likely to be in heavily fortified areas of the city, like armories or like barracks, like sort of locked down areas of the city. Your other option is that there was some shit that went down at the high steps, like the king's seat. So maybe check that out. You also know that that you got to be aware for enemies potentially. And if there are no enemies here, where did they go?
Mm-hmm.
Might be something you want to also think about. Because you're not seeing any immediate resistance. You know what I mean? Like you're going into a smoldering ruin is basically like what you're seeing right now. There hasn't been any aggressive motions towards you or anything. In fact, if you want to roll perception, I might be able to fill you in more. But
I will roll perception. Because Ferris would be like slightly ahead of the actual group, like scouting out. Let's see, it's 12.
This, I'm just gonna play.
Please don't get
It's
caught and
not
killed.
perception. Hey.
So 28 on perception.
28.
Yes.
Okay, you what you do see is there are sort of if you look very closely, like sort of in the distance, down some of the passages, you can see like shadows that move, like as if something has maybe spotted you and left, or someone happened to just be sort of just out of vision range, like down a corridor or something, and you just sort of see their shadow cast by the light against the wall, stuff like that. Like very, very difficult to spot this kind of thing, like considering there's like a lot of flickering flame and like smoke, and maybe you imagined it, sort of dark and
Well, I would relay that to the column and the group. And as I'm doing that, I would also state that I think that we should head to the palace to find out what happened there.
May as well, if we're gonna try and find out anything, we may as well try and start at the epicenter, right?
Exactly.
I want to relay something through all of the troops. That a thought occurred to me when you've said about all these like small figures and all of that are dancing through the shadows, potentially. Like we know that there is a contingent of a race that live underneath Hammerwatch. We know that there's a rat folk contingent who are not necessarily aggressive.
this is true.
I want to alert the troops that the rat folk are, from experience, cooperative if given a non-aggressive stance. The chances of them coming above ground seem slim, but I feel that all information is good information to give to the troops.
Perfect. And actually, the dwarves sort of know what you're talking about already because, like, they've had
They
experience
can
with
live,
these,
yeah, they live here.
with these rat folk before. And they're sort of like a tolerated presence. They're sort of useful to the dwarves in that they do a lot of the jobs that the dwarves don't want to do, like your sort of sewer work and your, like
Sure,
your sort of
yeah.
like below ground jobs. Like
Yeah.
no
I-
dwarf wants to get shit in his beard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Assuming, like, since I worked essentially as a PI in the city before this, I would be aware of that as well.
Yeah.
It's probably
Would
not
you,
an excuse what I
with
think
a
you've used
28,
them.
say if I thought it was a rat folk or something not a
No,
rat folk?
with a 28, you can't identify what it
Yeah, okay.
is. Like,
Yeah,
it's
fair
just
enough.
like it's far enough away that even if you were eagle-eyed, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Just wanted to check.
But I thought that would be something that we should share with the.
Mhm.
Yeah, and when you do, like, they all sort of go like, right, we won't stab any rat folk, sort of thing. Like, we'll if we see them, we'll try and communicate with them. Maybe they'll have some idea of what's going on if they got these little bolt holes anywhere that they've
Yeah,
been able to
exactly.
keep safe in. What is Zorn doing throughout all of this in terms of like he's basically like seeing the ruined front gate of this city, like this is where, you sort of like straight up like the traders would come in. This is like your big bazaar area, like where there's usually hustle and bustle like to the nth degree, and money changing
Basically,
hands everywhere and all that.
Zorn is the sort that he probably paused at the entrance just to admire it. Like he's just all like,
How dwarven hubris has fallen.
Breathe it in.
just be happy about that, and then just kind of like waltz along the streets and kind of go like,
Even more inside. This is wonderful.
Oh god, nice.
like maybe pull Tibbles to the side, like talking in a low voice because he's pretty sure that the dwarves would beat him or something,
Yeah.
and kind of go,
Do you know of any good places we could loot? Or burn down? I mean, maybe there was already a fire in there. We wouldn't know.
I would imagine you are more knowledgeable about the city than I.
It's probably true.
I was kept in close quarters for a very long time. Most
I
of
am
my
a what?
methods
I
of
have an
escape
interesting
were
question. Where do the dwarves hold the rat folk compared to you in terms of social status?
the rat folk at least weren't slaves.
By the way, guys, there's more Tibbles fan art going on. Aragorn's just like I don't know why he's green, but other than that, it's really awesome.
Do you resent the rat folk as well?
Man, that's crazy. That's like legitimately good pixel art.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. Erangel does really good stuff.
That's so good.
It's mostly the taller races I despise.
Not the full medium, but the half medium.
the full medium or half medium.
Yours are medium.
Anyway, moving on. What's your guys' plan here? You said you're heading to the epicenter, is what I heard. Like,
That's my plan.
your plan is go
Yeah,
to the seat of the High
Ferris
King.
is heading towards the epicenter. Like we're not just meandering about. Then Zorn's gonna follow towards the epicenter.
Okay.
And of course, I'd like be on watch for things coming out at us.
Of course, yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
assuming you're all on guard.
Exactly.
Don't worry, no surprise rounds incoming.
I'd roll, but I have like a -2 or something.
not just like waltzing down the street.
I am about as attentive as a insular bookworm female can be.
And like I'm just gonna like pull out my wand too, and my rock. I'll have like my wand and my rock out.
Anyway,
the killer combo.
yeah, the wombo combo. Because it's because what it is it's a wand of hold person, and then it's a rock of coup de grace, and you just throw the rock for the coup.
Yep.
That's the best part about wands of hold person. All rocks are rocks of coup de grace.
Yeah.
You see, the thing is, you bluff them with the rock. You feint the magic missile as you throw it at them. Magic missile! And then hit them with the real thing. They don't expect it.
That flat D2 -1 damage.
Anyway, let's keep going. So you guys are making your way down sort of like the main street of this place. All the dwarves are sort of like huddled looking, from side to side, like weapons are up, like where they're ready. Over the sound of like the sort of smoldering fires and the burning and so forth, you can hear sort of a little bit of movement. It sounds like scrabbling feet. Could be rat folk, could be devils. You don't know, right? Probably not dwarves because it doesn't sound like dwarven boots. It sounds like proper like toenail hitting stone sort of sounds.
Anyway, I could make a check to perceive the difference between rat folk and
maybe. Yeah.
survival or perception.
Perception. It would be perception.
I'll give it a peek as well since slash.
Lost your camera again, Necker, by the way.
The stream went down for me as well, so I guess it will be back up in a second.
Cool.
So 22 if they are outsiders. That's a 26.
Did you get my roll
I
there?
did, yeah. 21.
Yeah.
It's definitely the rat folk. It
Okay.
sounds like rat folk, but
Yeah,
they're
I
not
would
making
say
they're
this.
not making themselves visible at all, and it's clear that they're sort of like keeping an eye but not poking their heads out. So you make your way down the high street to the steps of the High King, at the end of sort of the large road. Something there, Tibbles, or
Yeah, just kind of something to say to the party in general, I
course.
guess. If the rat folk are the type who are willing to take the jobs of working on another society's sewers, who is to say that they would not ally themselves with the new tenants?
a couple of dwarves are like, yeah, that's a good
Because
Perhaps we should not show the rat folk any mercy.
whoa, like they're willing to work in the sewers. They're not willing to be evil. Like
Yeah.
those
They're
aren't
also willing
those
to
aren't the
fuck
same
us.
thing.
They're not. They don't come in the same package.
Like yeah,
I'm just
People
saying we
willing-
should leave it to our best judgment and not give them the free ticket.
To be fair, they are hiding from us. I'm pretty sure they know we're here.
Anyway, as you guys are having this conversation, you basically make it to the steps, right? And now you remember the dwarf telling you that like the prince had been killed, right? The that Harrowhelm had been killed here, and
yeah.
you don't see his body, right? There are lots of like dwarven defenders and sort of like plate mail dwarves, like they look like bodyguard type guys, or like soldiers. Lots of corpses like down the stairs and like up on near the door to the throne room sort of thing. And you'd heard that the prince had been impaled on the steps of the High King, and you don't see any evidence of that at all.
I suppose he got up and walked away.
Oh my god. Is there any check I can do to see if it was here before? Like,
To see if it was here,
like if I can see a body that was clearly dragged away.
or like blood or something.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
An indentation
perception
inside
again,
the
I
seat
guess.
that he was impaled in.
24.
24.
perceive if- yeah.
Shit. Okay. There's definitely like a couple of blood stains where there, aren't any bodies anymore in terms of like either they got up or were moved or whatever.
Mhm.
But they're not there. I mean, this isn't just like one. This is like there are several.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe we missed him at the front. He could have been at the
Um,
bottom of the pile.
A question from that then. Were any of them like this is on the steps, yeah? Were any of them dragged into the like palace?
Into the throne room.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like a series of steps right into like an audience chamber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like
Okay.
anything was dragged inside.
All right. I'd continue to like look around the area, see if I see anything, but
Cool. Okay. So as you're looking around and just checking things out, and you know the dwarves are like going over to their companions and going like Magni, no, you know, like things like that, you know, blah blah blah. You know, Jimmy.
Zorn
no.
is having such a
Jimmy,
field day.
no.
So it's like yes, mourn for me.
Jimmy Greybeard the dwarf. Anyway, as you're doing that, you hear sort of like a hatch open behind you guys, like a grate, you know, like a crick, sort of,
Okay.
and a thin, you know, like very sort of gaunt looking, like, you know, rat face sticks out. It's like friends or foes, you know, like just sort of testing.
Yes. As is the correct answer to that question.
Yes.
Yes. Friends.
Closes the grate.
Just-
Fuck off.
What did I miss there? Sorry.
One of the rat folk poking his head out,
Who?
and he sort of like climbs out, sees it's like dwarves, and goes like, oh, where have you come from?
We came from the human city, a few days south of here.
You've come to take back the city, I guess.
We'd love to do that.
I haven't seen so many of the invaders recently. I think some of the dwarves might have hidden in the royal armory.
Right.
They might still be there, but I haven't checked. Haven't looked. Been very busy.
It's been about 6 days. They've probably starved by now. We should probably check.
Stores, I think. Not so stupid as to let themselves die that way. Strange.
That's okay.
Strange, though. By the way, like, all of the dwarves and sort of, like, you know, the humans and so on are sort of arrayed around, like, what the heck is going on here? And this rat folk guy looks like he has, like, social anxiety disorder, you know? Like, he's sort of, like,
Yeah.
looking away, and you can hear it in his voice, you know? Like, he very sort of doesn't want to be in the spotlight.
I'll sort of, yeah, like, if possible, I'd like to dismount and sort of slowly try and walk towards him. Like, obviously no weapons or anything in hand.
Isn't he, like, behind a
Ferris
door
wouldn't
with,
be
like,
anywhere
a
I
near.
was chaotic neutral.
What? Chaotic what?
If only I was chaotic neutral. I'd sneak up to him just to scare him.
Ah!
Just like I want to be like walking slow and
Sure,
just
yeah.
so I can
you
try
come,
and get to his level.
you
basically.
come up towards him, and he you know, he still isn't sort of meeting your eyes, like looking at the floor, sort of thing.
Sure.
But he continues, and he goes, I think that most of them have gone. If not all of them have left. They the king is not around anymore. I didn't see the body anywhere, but he's not here. Maybe he's taken or hiding. There's many holes that you could hide in around the city, but not many known to the dwarves necessarily.
What's your name, rat person?
I am Sniv.
Okay, well, if you're lying, I'll know who to come looking for then, Sniff.
I don't think Sniff is
With
lying.
the V. Sniv.
With a V.
Sniff.
I don't think Sniff is lying.
Like Shiv,
Sniv's,
Like
I get
Shiv.
the
with men.
I get the impression Sniv is a bit more intelligent than to lie to a massive armed force that he's elected to show himself to.
Probably.
Come to think of it, Zorn, did you ever think of using any of your comrades' pieces as a shiv?
Wow.
Wow.
I would not desecrate
Like-
corpses for their bones.
Like that was
under
one of the very
contestants,
few statements that was one of the
Potato,
very few
potato.
statements.
What'd you say, Necro?
It's like one of the very few statements where Paige has mentally said "wow" a few times to some of
Yes.
these like really off the cuff statements, but that's one of the few that genuinely evoked an audible response. It's like whoa.
Anyway, Sniv keeps going. He's sort of like,
I'll sort of like crouch to try and lower the gap with this.
I believe that you should check the armory, the royal armory. You have to go that way and then through there.
Right. Okay.
And he sort of like tries to give directions, to where you should go. The door's sealed, but if you say with your friends, maybe you can get them to open it or something. I'm sure there are a few survivors in there.
Thank you.
I have
Thank you
heard
very
them
much.
breathing. And then he sort of goes like, goodbye, and like just runs like back down the
It just-
grate and
yeah,
slams
it's
it
like-
and fucks off.
Yeah, his anxiety's just been a bit too much now. I wanted to just throw out that to make the thing where you use to detect lies. What's it called?
Sense motive.
Sense motive.
Sense motive. Just to get a better impression of like, do I think that he's speaking this as his own words or words that have been given to him?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just want to cover my back, basically, that I'm not going to lead people into a trap, and that I genuinely get the sense that he feels like that all of this is true. This is in our best interests.
Sure.
Um,
So that's a sense motive roll.
Got that.
29. Yeah, he is obviously like trying to provide you with valid information that he believes is useful to you. This is the kind of person, clearly, that doesn't usually have interaction on a large scale, or even a small scale necessarily. But having survived a massacre and just generally wanting to assist if he can, sort of.
Yeah, my rationalization for like not trusting him 100% was he obviously suffered from like an anxiety, like a social anxiety, like you said. So the only two reasons that he would come to us is if he's either desperate or forced.
Mm-hmm. So you're just thinking like maybe if he'd been told to do this and under threat or something, sure, yeah.
Like, I don't want to go to like the armory that he said is the safest place on earth and be introduced to the remainder of the like devil army. It's like, well, I guess you shouldn't just believe everyone. Joke's on you, punks. Time to die.
Yeah,
like,
no, it is genuinely seems to be legit. Like,
cool. That's phenomenal. Well, I guess we should head in that direction, as our timid comrade suggested. Do we have any opposing suggestions?
Ferris would be on his way towards it as soon as he could.
okay,
Check it
so
out.
you guys are headed to the Royal Armory, and basically you make your way through like several buildings that obviously they're sort of made of very very solid stone, and haven't been able to be toppled, very like well masoned. But the insides are, again, it's sort of like been a bit of a massacre, and they've clearly like while they were coming through here like fighting their way back. Like they're sort of like on a like a battle retreat. In that like they're probably like backing up towards this area and fighting as they went, sort of thing. And you make your way to sort of like a bulwark of a door. This thing is like a huge metal, solid beast of a door, and it has tons of dents in it. Like people have been trying to hit it or break it down or whatever the hell else, but it seems to be still standing.
Can we get into it?
Well, what are you gonna do to it?
I would ask if some of the dwarfs or humans who are not strength 8 to lift the barricade out of the way, the bar or whatever.
Oh, there's no fucking way you can move it by hand.
Sweet.
Even
I
the
will ask.
strongest person wouldn't be able to shift it. Tibbles, you got something?
I'd like to knock on it.
Fair enough. So what? You just no-mishly stroll up and like clang, clang, clang. Sort of nothing happens for a little while, and then you hear. Well, you don't actually hear that much. Roll perception, actually. Well, Ferris can hear people moving around on the other side.
Righto. Well, probably does not. Where's that skill?
Oh, you shit.
I could also just relay that to the rest of you. I hear people moving on the other side.
But I wanted to roll.
Well, I
a
guess
dice
there's at
once.
least one survivor in there.
I don't have anything in it. Oh, I'm bad at this.
Woo! After a few moments, you hear sort of a voice through, sort of an echo, not through the door, but like from somewhere else, like obviously magic projection or something, you know. And you hear like, "Has the city been retaken?" It's like a dwarvish, soldier or something.
Sure.
I will announce that there has been no. We have had no contact with the invaders or dwarfs since we have set foot back in Hammerwatch.
Hammerfell.
Hammerfell, sorry.
It's cool.
Not the video game. I will say my name is Paige Smith from Griffinhaven. I am here with a contingent of refugees from the city looking to reclaim what was taken.
As soon as you say this, like all the dwarves behind you are all like, oh, "Hail Hammerfell!" Like sort of trying to make sure that like they can be heard and so forth. That like it's true, like they're
Sure.
there,
Yeah.
sort of thing. After a couple of moments, he's just like, "I'll unseal the door," and like tries to. You hear like a sort of creaking, groaning, like. As the door moves open. It's like a bank vault of a door.
Imagine like Gringotts.
Yeah, pretty much. And you can see inside as the door swings open that there are like rows and rows of like axes and plate armor and like stuff on the walls and so on. There's a couple of dwarfs who are sort of like standing up in the hallway with like clutching their side or whatever. They're clearly wounded on their way back, that kind of thing, like to retreat into this area. And the front dwarf speaks up.
Who?
Right. So you brought all these men back here. Good. I'll take you to talk to the prince. And sort of like, he like turns to limp inside, like back further into this little sort of fortified area. There's clearly a couple of rooms, as it's like sort of a panic room / armory / area like that. In reference to the prince, you assume he's talking about Harrowhelm.
Sure, yeah, that's where my brain went.
Who you assume to be dead. And
Again, that's where my brain went.
who you've been told is dead. But anyway, he brings you through to a room in the back where there's a dwarf, like lying in a bed, basically, There's a large wound on this guy's chest, like clearly like almost through and through. You know, like it's a surprise that he's alive. And there's like an elderly female dwarf like sitting nearby in a chair, clearly like a healer or like a cleric or something.
Sure.
She's got a hammer on her vestments. It's like a morag, cleric of morag or torag, sorry.
Sure.
Cleric
Yeah.
of torag. Who's been working on this guy. The guy in the bed is clearly from any pictures that you've ever seen or any like live appearance that you've seen him before. This is the guy. This is Harrowhelm, the dwarven prince, Harrowhelm Garand. Yeah, so he brings you through and says like the dwarf soldier says these men and women came to rescue us, my prince. It seems that the devils have left the city. We may be able to clean things up from the rubble. The prince sort of nods and goes like, yes, good. Very wounded, sort of very tired sounding. And he sits up. You see the effort as he does, sort of in the bed to look a little bit more sort of presentable. And says like, thank you for coming back. Whatever we can do here in Hammerfell, we will. We have a lot of rebuilding to do. My father slain or missing. We haven't been able to find his body. I didn't see him fall. My uncle has been again, unfortunately missing. Hopefully managed to flee in time or anything, but regardless, thank you for coming back. Leave these fine men with me and we'll do everything we can to put the city back in, well...
It's in our best interests to get to the root of the problem, lest it happens again. We want to try and investigate what happened here, over and above just trying to rebuild the city.
Of course, such a brutal and unprovoked assault.
Yes, I completely agree.
There must be a reason.
Do you have
Please,
any inclination yourself?
If you're investigating, find out all you can. Do I have any inkling? I don't know. There's no reason why there would be such a sudden, aggressive attack.
According to the one you're speaking with, she said they were devils. Very lawful beings. I don't think they cause random chaos. Are you absolutely sure they got what they wanted so they don't come back?
Well, my scaly friend, it appears to me that they've departed, which suggests that what they were here for has been done.
I want to just like I'm talking to what in my head is a dead man, so I want to make sure that he is completely on the level and what he's telling us is like to his best knowledge entirely true. So I want to roll sense motive.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got that.
Nice. As far as you're aware, everything that he's telling is completely true from his point of view. He doesn't appear to be lying to you in any way, or trying to deceive you.
Or mask any.
No.
But like use false truths.
It's very much like he has no idea why his city would have just been like rolled over.
That's completely fine. Because said you get skeptical talking
fair,
to people.
It is his city now.
That's a good point. It's not like that's Paige's thought process to that comment in her head is like that's true. This is King Harrowhill. I don't really know how dwarves.
He looks to sort of Tibbles and to you and goes like, I am not High King until we are sure my father is dead. You know, like very much like he has to pass it on. You know.
He's holding that hope. Okay. What else do we know? We know that your father and your uncle are missing. And for all best interests should be assumed dead, as hard as that might be to hear right now.
I understand.
Um, we know that they came from the south up here and made a very, very direct path towards the castle. So whatever they were aiming for, we know is here. We should look for...
Perhaps there was an object, something they wanted to steal?
That's what I was thinking. Was there maybe... Is there other things that might be missing?
I haven't
No,
really looked. You know, he's like sort of sitting in bed with like the biggest wound you've ever seen, like through his chest. Like that guy hasn't really.
You know, just on an off chance,
I'm going to describe the guy that was the courier. And ask,
Yeah,
was that one your uncle?
not from that description.
Worth a shot.
Good try,
Um,
Tibbles. You got something, man? Hey, you're sort of sitting there with your hand
Yeah.
up. You don't
Yeah,
have to do that, by the way. You can just
Oh,
talk.
no,
right?
I just mean like I like letting people.
Sure, I'm
finish,
just
so
letting you know
totally
that like
cool just
I'm
waiting.
trying to see when you do it, but you don't have to.
Yeah. Well, would there perhaps be some sort of escape route within the palace should something like this ever occur that perhaps your father or uncle might have known about and used?
There is an escape route. Tunnel that leads out behind the throne. But I'm not sure if it was ever used.
out of character.
That's why you seal it with tape so it pops when you open it.
No, you wedge a piece of pencil lead on one side so it snaps. And then you pick up the potato chip and you put it in your mouth and eat it.
We should investigate the escape route.
so many mental fireballs.
That was out of character, though.
Yeah.
That was
That
out of
didn't
character in character's voice.
Yeah. Well, we
Gave
have
me a look.
we
and
have
I gave you a
we-
look
we-
right back.
we
that
have-
said so many words.
we
Yeah.
have a little bit of that because you know we're,
Yeah, of
we're
course.
like
No,
joking
like
around.
I'm like every time I've said fireball, like
Yeah.
it's good fun. I like that wasn't a shady dig or anything. Just as an out of point, like I like that happens. I'm not taking a shot. Sorry if that sounded like
No,
that.
not at all. Not at all. It's fine.
I loved when you called Zorn a little shit. That was my favorite part of the evening thus far.
That was 10 out of 10, not out of character. Right. Points of investigation as it stands. We have to check. I first off want to ask: have you received any magical healing, Prince?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The cleric here has been doing quite a good job, but it is a substantial wound.
Completely understandable. I'm just making sure that all of your all clerics with a gift from their deity haven't been caught as damage in the attack. Second, what we need to address is: are there things of note that are valuable to the family that potentially could have been taken? Are there
Well, there's
heirlooms, things like that?
there's my father's amulet, but he will have been wearing it and he's disappeared.
Sure. Okay.
And of course, if you're talking monetary value as in currency.
no, nothing like that. specific objects that would hold an attachment, not just wealth for wealth's sake.
There are many things that have been gifted to us over our reign, but nothing as special as that amulet.
No problem. Jesus Christ, Trip. Third, we should investigate that passageway.
Yeah.
That's something that if and there are no other potential escapes that you know of.
To leave immediately from the from the throne room would be the only way, other than the front door.
Seems unlikely he would take that option. So
Mhm.
I guess behind the throne. Can we have permission to investigate through?
Of course.
Thank you.
Is there a mechanism to open
it?
it?
Has
booby trapped.
It
In
was
the-
brought to our... Sorry, on you go.
In the arm of the throne, there's a switch. You just have to open the top of the left-hand arm.
Okay. It was brought to our attention that there was a potential way to escape via the armory.
No, out of character. That was just a reference to like this place being like
Oh, right.
being like
yeah.
They
a
escaped to
like
the armory.
like they escaped to here, you know, where they held
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
Basically,
Okay.
the walls were
yeah.
big enough to hold back the legions of hell.
Yep.
Huh? Something about Legions of Hell?
Yes. The walls were thick enough to hold back the legions of hell.
Dwarves are
Yeah.
famous for their doors, dude.
Yeah. Doors and walls, man. Doors and walls.
Those guys get a racial bonus
Dude,
on stones that look funny.
doors and walls. The bane of any of my D&D groups.
Why can't I just phase shift?
Yep.
If you ever
On
find
that,
yourself with the money and you need a new entryway, go Dwarven. Trust me.
God.
Ferris would be on the way to the throne room.
I like how you interrupted him when he was going to talk about monetary value, because like Tibbles and Zorn are like sitting there like.
I was sort of loosely aware of what I have to keep as the conversation focal point.
Yeah, he was going
Like-
to go on to like the whole like, well, we are a dwarven city. Do you know what resides in dwarven vaults? Lots
Dragons.
and lots and
I'm saying-
lots of money.
I kind of like the idea that, like, even though he's gravely wounded, he just turned around and goes, have you ever heard of this guy, Abadar? You seen that guy's vault? We've got a shrine that would put it to test, wee man.
You think his vault's cool? Have you even seen ours? Fucking Torag, man. He's way better than Abadar.
That's the thing, like, I imagine that whilst the contents of Abadar's vault are probably better, it's probably harder to get into Torag's.
Yeah. That's a good
Those
point.
guys-
That's a good point.
Like, could you imagine just naming a security service like Abadar and Torag? It's like
We make
Abadar and, Abadar and Torag Vaultsmiths.
we make vaults that not even the gods can break into.
Exactly.
And all your fucking servants have Earth Glide.
You know,
I'm
it
not
just-
taking your vault.
It just says like the like under writing, just like Abadar and Torag Vaultsmith, and then the bottom it says even the DM can't break in.
It's like so many people like walk past, like, I don't know who the DM is, but there's like one in every like 10 million people who are the G, like, are a player character, just like, that's a nice touch. That's the best reaction they can ever get. So like, good job. Right. So our cat folks like our cat folk is like infinitely faster than me. So
Yep.
I
So
will-
I'm
yeah.
super curious. I'm getting more and more curious at this.
So you're just like headed to the throne room. You're like,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm headed there.
You keep
I'm gonna
talking.
flip the
You
switch
keep
as soon as I get
like,
there.
you keep talking with a wounded prince. I'ma go.
I'm gonna go check this out. This sounds really cool.
I'm pretty much following Ferris because as soon as we get out of there, like away from the dwarves and humans and stuff, I'll just be like,
The miraculous son lives miraculously. Amazing.
Let me go back there and stab that wound a bit.
You ask me, the only thing the demons accomplished was making him king.
But yeah, as soon as Ferris gets to the throne room, he's gonna flip the switch to try to open it.
Okay. You open the left-hand arm. You just like sort of lift up a
Yep.
stone, press a button, and behind the throne, sort of like a panel slides away, like of the stone, and, just and there's a staircase that leads down into a passageway.
I regret to inform you that the prince has forgotten to mention the power word kill trap that is attached to this.
I asked if it was booby trapped. I
This-
tried.
The secret code word that you must say when you press the button.
or else you get disintegrated. This kind of sucks.
You are now cat particles rather than cat.
I assume that, like, he said it's not been
No,
used
no,
a
it's
lot.
fine. It's
Yeah, there's no slight sphere of annihilation trap.
we're just joking.
No, not that.
F2, friend.
I that was completely like, yeah, whatever. I don't think that's the case. But I assume like, he said it's not been used a lot, so it's probably like dusty. Could I
Yeah.
check for tracks?
Sure,
Survival or perception or
either is fine.
okay. Actually, they're the same, so it doesn't really matter. Oh wow.
So you don't see any sort of passage of anybody through here, as if it
Yeah.
hasn't been used.
So I turn around to the party. It doesn't look like it's been used.
It's probably worth noting that although it wasn't used, like it doesn't look used just now, the attack here was almost a week ago,
Yeah, it's
right?
been a little while.
It's like almost a full 10 day, so we might have just let the tracks settle down back to dust at this point.
We should still investigate.
100% sure.
And with that conclusion, Ferris heads down the stairs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I was just sort of
He doesn't
gesture.
need any convincing to
Yeah.
go find out new
So,
things.
so you're going down into the passageway.
Yep.
Do you have dark vision?
Oh, I do not have dark vision.
Yeah.
I have
So
light vision.
this
so I
is
don't-
a pitch
I-
black tunnel through a mountain.
I pull out a torch then.
Pull out a torch.
I will cast dancing lights.
Okay. Well, either
Or-
of those is good. So you're making your way
If you
down.
cast,
You're making your way down through the tunnels. And it's clearly like a straight line tunnel almost to like the nearest, exit. As you're going through, you can see like are you going all the way to the end or what's
yeah.
your plan? Okay, so you're taking the time to go all the way to the end. Okay. So you make your way all the way to the end of the tunnel. It's basically a straight line passage. It's like a 5 foot by 6 foot corridor in terms of like that's like your standing room.
Mhm.
For a
Um,
dwarf that'd be fine, but for a slightly taller than average human or anybody like that, it would suck. Anyway,
Sorry,
yeah, what's up?
just as a quick point of aside, I want to every like so often, just because we're going through somewhere dark and unknown, cast no direction.
Cast no direction. Yeah, you're headed in like a almost like a geographically perfectly straight line. Like this is a well crafted tunnel, sort of straight to get out of the mountain like as fast as possible, like to the nearest exit.
Yeah, I
Um,
just threw it
yeah,
throughout
yeah.
the course of the thing just to make sure that we are.
Of course. However, when you get about 3/4 the way there, you've been walking for about an hour-ish.
Right.
Okay.
And this is just like walking. You're not like running or anything, right? Like you're just sort of
Yeah.
walking through the tunnel. Okay.
Yeah, taking care.
3/4 of the way there, about an hour-ish, you see that there's a break in the wall of the tunnel. And it branches off in a different direction. It doesn't look like it's masonry. It looks like it's been busted into and that there's a natural cavern.
Ferris investigates.
Well, I'll gesture to like wait just a quick second, and I'll sort of float the dancing lights down in a
Okay,
chain.
so you're just gonna like send them down the corridor.
At least light the first part of the way, so we don't just jump to death.
Yeah. there's no like sudden drop or anything, so you're good in that regard. There's no like step out into the void and die. But
Those are like my favourite things to avoid.
yeah, but it's definitely not dwarven masonry. You know, it's a naturally formed cavern that like something is either busted into or out of through the wall.
Can we
There's
tell?
clear signs of destruction in the masonry, like of the tunnel. You can't tell whether it was in or out, but
Okay.
because it's just like broken stone.
All right. Yeah.
But are you going like further down into this cavern or no?
Well, can I throw a perception down the cavern?
You can indeed.
22.
Does that tell you anything? I'm trying to decide. Well, actually, you don't see very much because you don't have a lot of vision.
No, we only have the dancing lights vision.
Yeah.
One sec.
This cavern slopes downward, by the way. So, like, rather than sort of moving it at the same level, the entire time you're sort of doing like a downward, and it sort of spirals a little bit.
Oh,
you know?
I've got something.
So you're kind of going from straight line to like that.
Okay. I feel like this is the more prudent thing to investigate rather than the
Yeah.
rest of the path.
Righto. I want to cast. Who has dark vision and who doesn't have dark vision?
I do not have dark
I-
vision.
I'm a
Zorn.
romance.
Do I have dark vision? One sec.
I don't know. Do kobolds have dark
You're
vision?
a kobold, aren't you?
I
Yeah,
think kobolds have
I might as
dark
well have
vision.
dark
Kobolds
vision.
do have dark vision.
I might as
I'll
well have
take-
dark vision.
dark vision might
Yeah.
consider it.
Cool. I'll throw a dark vision on both the cat folk and the.
Okay, you're just casting dark vision on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you guys can see perfectly now, and what you
Yay.
see is not encouraging. There are several nasty-looking spider webs that you can see as you're making your way down, and I don't mean spider webs like, oh, it's like cobwebs. I mean spider webs like the fucking steel cable sort of spider webs. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you probably don't want to touch it, spider webs.
It's
what's up?
refreshing that there's a fireball mental note that isn't related to the kobolds.
What's up, peepers?
I forgot to do my verbal component for dark vision.
Ah.
Pika Kabubra!
Okay. Great.
If it's not in character, then it's not worth doing. It's so good. It's so
I'm just imagining that particular utterance like echoing through the cavern as your vision snaps on because you've got dark vision now and you see like spider webs, you know, like and like nasty stuff ahead of you, and you can just hear Pika Cobra, Pika Cobra.
Oh god, yeah, that's like a candidate for cast like blindness, deafness on self, right? Make it st-
So this tunnel is looking less and less habitable as you move further down, and it's sort of opening up a little bit wider. You're getting sort of like a funnel. You're getting sort of like a reverse funnel effect. You know, like
Okay.
you're moving down and it's getting wider. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up?
Do we like totally agree that we're just going to head into spiderweb territory? Like I'm a bit cautious about that.
Well,
noise.
I'm just saying, like this is what you can see right now. You know,
Right, okay.
without moving.
Are we? We're not like. I mean,
Ferris is pretty committed to heading down this path.
By the way, perception check.
oh god. I don't wanna.
29.
Oh god. I want to. All of these.
You know what? I'll roll to aid Trude's character.
Okay.
There, he gets
True.
+2 on it.
You can see that some of these webs look like they've been torn through recently, like within some of the recent time. Like it looks like somebody has tried to forge a path through here, like within the last week.
I relay this to the party. I think this is a good path to.
You know, this
to
is
get
sort
there.
of like twigs have snapped as you've moved.
Yeah.
You know, people have been here, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've read all the stories.
But
about
also,
these.
it could have been an errant rat folk. It could have been, it could have been anything, right? Like it could have just been somebody got lost or whatever.
Having seen
Somebody
that,
got
Ferris
lost
is
in the
going to
secret
be
tunnel.
even more.
Well,
Yeah.
somebody got lost in the secret tunnel. That maybe there are other entrances to this cave elsewhere. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
It's just. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just.
So, like, are we like this tunnel, is it just like a narrow, straight, not like perfectly straight because it's not carved, but is it just like a straight passage, or is it like winding
No,
down?
I
It's
mean,
a winding
it's sort
down.
of like a downward sloping wind that is like reverse funneling. Like sort of you're opening up into like a wider cavern. So
And like these webs are just filling it. Like how much
well,
web are we
like
talking
you're
here?
you're looking at like half of the volume of the tunnel being covered in this stuff, like as it opens up. In terms of it would catch anything that was coming through, like without if it wasn't looking or if it didn't have the ability to sort of see things and move out of the way, or if it was moving quickly. Like these are snares. Like these are appropriate places for a snare. In terms of like you can feel a breeze coming from behind you, which like naturally sort of like leads you into this area, which is like if it's unintelligent, it's gonna get caught. Like that sort of placement.
How would you all feel about me burning away all these webs?
I would say that would
Um,
piss off whatever is in here.
That's kind of the opinion of Ferris as well. It's like we don't really want to piss anyone off. We can just
How about
There's a-
we
people have
don't
walked through
get
here
caught in
before.
the
We can
webs.
follow that path.
I mean,
and for the most part ignore them?
Okay, I just
Um,
wanted to get everyone's sense of emotions. We're fine robbing from the dead, but we don't want to piss off evil spider creatures.
whoa, like we're finding what?
Spiders
You're-
aren't evil.
You're okay stealing from the dead.
Yeah,
we're
like
all on
this is-
board.
this is like
Spiders.
this is like new information to the page. Like we're finding what? Sorry.
I said I wasn't actively hostile if you took it. Doesn't mean that's not the same.
Now I'm just imagining Tibbles, natural cave formation, spiders all around. He's like, I thought we were all stealing from dead people. like, is this really
my new friends
It's
have
like-
a problem with my head?
is this really the appropriate time for this conversation? Like, it's just
Right.
I just find him amazing. I just really like
Let's
Tibbles.
find the dead king or the dead whatever came down this way.
Yeah, Ferris is
I think
gonna
that's best
keep
plan.
moving. Not much talk after. Like, let's not piss off the spiders. And
Okay,
uh,
so you're moving forward then?
Can I?
Yeah.
Can I use my bardic knowledge to try and like assess the sort of things that specifically create webs this big? Because
Yes.
this doesn't feel like giant spider big territory. This feels like something's going on.
Knowledge nature,
And I-
please.
And like as someone who in and out of character just hates the creatures, like
Ah.
sorry internet if you're actually a spider, but god
know,
damn
I
you're
am a
creepy.
spider fan.
I used to have arachnophobia, and then I got really drunk and murdered one with a spoon, and it did wonders for my
Zorn.
courage.
I mean, Yin, when you said that, the first thing that popped in my head was Spider Fan, Spider Fan.
Oh my god.
Does whatever a spider can.
Rock this.
Right. Oh.
Yes!
Oh, snap! So you, my friend, have luckily heard tales. You've heard
Man, why am I
tales.
taking this? Like I just
You've heard
I
tales.
just don't like spiders.
Okay, shut up! I'm trying to tell you what it is.
Sorry.
So, you've heard tales of giant spiders. Large creatures. And I'm not talking giant like large as in large the size category. I'm talking giant as in like huge the size category.
That's
Like
gargantuan.
really fucking big. And these are aberrations of a sort because they live so deep in the rock, in the mountains. Your regular large spiders live in, forests and like open air. But it takes a certain hardy kind of really big spider to live in this sort of like not very much food, desolate sort of in the caves, in the dark, perfect hunter size spider, These things are huge. They are like, think Black Widow, but really big. Like spindly
Sick.
black legs with like the black bulbous sort of body.
sick.
Very much ambush fighters initially. They are likely to spring down from places on top of their prey if not snared.
That's-
Can I do a perception upwards?
Hang on. hang on.
I haven't had time to relay this.
These spiders also tend to have small broods in terms of if you wander into the home of one of these things, they reproduce in an aberrant way, so they often have children whether or not there are other spiders around. These things are nasty. So the children, of course, will maybe be medium-sized, like sort of like, regular. But they eventually grow to a size large enough that one of them eventually wins, because they fight each other sort of for the space as they grow. One of them eventually wins and gets large enough to kill the mother. And then the cycle continues, right? And that's sort of like where the food comes from that isn't the outside food. See what I mean? See what I'm getting at here? What's up, Ian?
There can only be one.
My 19 get about the same. Like,
Oh
they're
yeah,
just really big spiders.
yeah. Like they're really big spiders.
I'm gonna make this up. You
Yin,
can choose if it's a lie or not.
Yin,
but
can I just say that your character has actually had personal experience with one of these before, in terms of that you've lived in mountains. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that's where your
I'm gonna
experience
actually
stems
do
from.
this.
Okay.
Don't worry about them. They're pretty much like giant cows. They move quite slowly if you don't anger them.
What? That's not.
Someone call that a lie?
Whoa. What are you talking about? Like, I will relay what I think is the truth, which is what you told me, but I'm going to cut out the parts where you use words like spindly and like any word that you felt that you had to emphasize. I'm going to just cut and just give the hard facts, because
Well, you see,
super
when
nervous
spiders
about
get
these
as
creatures.
big as they do, they have to start moving slower, or else they like break their own legs when jumping and stuff. That's why
No
I
one
call
believes
them
you.
cows.
No one
Ferris,
believes you.
do
on
you
this.
know anything about these creatures?
Don't think so.
I would
Well,
like.
then
I
which
would,
of our friends do we believe?
Okay, I would like to point out, first of all, guys, I would like to point out that with the knowledge that both of you have, you know that your chances, the four of you, of fighting a fully mature one of these things are super low. Like, you gotta get fucking super lucky, or it's gotta be almost dead already. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just... Those of you who have the knowledge will be aware that these things are deadly as fuck. Okay? At your current juncture.
Yeah, like I'm just like I'm 10 out of 10 not interested in going down this pathway anymore.
The like broken web is like our size, yeah?
Yeah.
Someone our size came down here before. Clearly, maybe the spider's already dead.
That is true, they tend to rebuild any broken webs.
Good point.
I still
Within
want
a
to set
day.
it all on fire.
You know,
I would strongly recommend not angering the spider. They're fine if you leave them alone and don't get near them,
But they ambush you.
and don't entice them.
But
But
they ambush you.
I'll keep on watch. I'm a watchful guy.
they
I can do
only
this.
they only attack people that entice them. Don't look so
No, they attack-
tasty. Be smaller.
Now,
Good.
now, Zorn, are you saying these things out of sort of like... Are you just like blatantly lying because you're an asshole, or are you like legitimately like, yeah, they won't attack us? Like, is that your thought process?
Actually, it's one of those things that the kobolds, one of their coping mechanisms is that, like, no, they don't kill you as long as you
Yeah,
don't
that's true.
cross their path ever at all anyway.
Oh yeah, I guess, yeah.
Kobolds are instinctively optimistic for some reason.
Yeah, that is actually a thing. Yeah, okay. So, all right. So,
Like,
you know, like
goblins.
several of your friends managed to get by one of these like one time when it was like already full with like the two other guys that were with them.
Yeah,
you know,
like-
so
They're
you
the type
know.
of race that turns
No,
any
it's
minute
fatter,
complicated
so
to
that's
solid hard
why they
verifiable
got-
facts.
They were more enticing.
So,
Like, I'm just like,
I would strongly recommend either we don't go down this pathway at all, or we expect only Tibbles and myself to live.
Like this is the exact
Paige
gesture
is
you
like,
get.
no,
It's just
fuck
like,
this.
I mean,
I mean, we could bring down many more dwarves and humans to help forge a path. I'm sure the spider will get full before then.
like, let's look at it.
Depends on how important their king is to them. I mean, this could be the way their king wins.
Or it could just be a broken web, maybe not even anything.
If I'm trying to rationalize like who would take this path, because it's not like the people who built the castle next door don't know that this is a thing. They must know. They built a pathway.
But they didn't build a pathway to here. They built a pathway
They built a
along.
pathway like next. They must have noticed like things like massive caves filled with deadly spiders.
Well,
Well, when they're sticking it, they probably hit that cavern, and they were just like, "Fuck that, cover it up."
yeah, brick it up, you know.
It's like when you accidentally hit lava in Minecraft.
Yeah,
and,
it's
like,
my exactly. It's like, oh shit, a natural, a natural cave, bricks, bricks, bricks.
yeah, you literally cannot hit your cobblestone button fast enough.
I mean,
yeah,
their king's probably desperate. He may have decided that they knew of his escape, so he went down this other path.
No, like I'm totally not buying it. Like I've got no interest. Like I've just no. Like I'm
I
super.
love
I
this
totally understand
so
why you
much.
don't want to die today.
But Ferris is so curious. He wants to see this thing.
Well, you know what you could do? Stealth check.
I could stealth check.
Wow.
Yeah, that was kind of where I was going if we were continuing down here.
Can I-
I was probably gonna stealth check
Can
too.
you not bait the party, please? Like,
Can I stealth check down and do some more perception checks?
You can indeed.
Okay.
So,
let's
what are
see.
you saying in character when you do this, by the way? Because, like, keep in
I'm
mind.
just gonna go check this out. I need to see if I can find this thing.
please, I'm not gonna follow you, please.
As he's going away, I'm gonna
I'm
try
just-
to like meld into the shadows. too.
Page's like problem here just like makes me amazed. Like it gives me really good mental image. Like I'm just imagining this like bard girl, you know, like sort of like a chronicler who has like arachnophobia, you know, and it's just like, oh, those fucking spiders, I don't want to be here, you know what I mean? Like,
and
just,
the cat
I'm
focus is like,
totally-
don't worry so much, I'll be fine.
I'm just gonna go.
Get out of
I'm just gonna go poke it with a stick, you know.
I've read
It's a
so
small
much about
stick.
these things.
So-
I'm
Yeah,
totally
Ferris heads
trying to like, since there's like this excellent bard distraction crying in the corner here. I'm hiding like.
okay, so
I'm just gonna sit down.
Tibbles.
Like I'm just gonna slump. Like
Okay. Hang on. Dun 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 dun.
All right, Paige. It's just you and me. But I'm going with them.
And I'm going to stealth down as well.
oh, did I just become?
Just
Dam-
stay here.
Did I just
I'm
become?
sure you'll be
Velma?
fine.
Yeah, you basically did, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna roll some opposed perceptions here. Give me 1 second.
Please, 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 please.
You tell the party the chances of you fighting this and
Right.
surviving are slim to none. Party's reaction is okay. We'll just stealth past. it."
Right.
You guys are all
Yin,
assholes.
Are you
Like,
actually going with, or are you just stealthing to hide? Because Tibbles was like, I'm just stealthing to hide.
Yeah, I'm
right?
not going
Like-
down
Oh,
with
Tibbles
the
is not
cat
going?
person.
I'm not
No,
going.
Okay.
I'm just like.
Alright, so we
Just-
only have to worry about Ferris. Okay.
Yeah.
just like,
And let's be honest, I'm the only one who could
potentially.
potentially make it.
Yeah. So as you sneak down into the cavern, and it becomes sort of wider, and you see some nasty things. Your dark vision allows you to see in the dark, so you're managing to sort of like step around and like through the webs and like not like, you know, tug on any of the wire sort of that would send that vibration, you know. Managing to get through, but as you enter the cavern, you start seeing these sort of like sacks, you know, hanging. Like either wrapped bodies, maybe. You can't really tell. It could be just like it's sort of like a web sack, you know.
Right.
And there's like several of these sort of like hanging around the place, like maybe like a total of like 12-ish, you know.
Okay.
And you can, and I'm assuming you're looking everywhere, so perception check for me.
Yeah. 20.
Okay. So you can see glinting in the shadows, sort of just on the edge of the cavern, you know, like up high on like sort of like little ledges and so forth. You can see just like the glint of like black eyes like reflecting in the light, not the light, but like the sort of in the darkness, you know, that sort of like very reflective, you know, like there's something that's shining over there, and you can see it like there and there and there and there, you know, like several sort of like around the room as you look.
Okay.
But you can see nothing that necessarily is like, this is the big mama spider, you know, like there's nothing that sort of suggests that. It suggests like many small ones at this point in time. Like you can see like at least 3 or 4 that you can see, and you didn't roll super well necessarily in the dark in the cave and so.
GG rip no re.
The other 3 of you are just sitting at the entrance like, I hope he comes back.
I am.
If we hear screaming, we go back in the tunnel.
Well, we're already hearing Paige screaming.
That is true.
So yeah, I head back to the party to relay what I saw.
Okay.
Do you want me to make another stealth check?
No, you're good. I'll just let you keep the same one. I had a lot of perceptions to roll, and you did really well, so I'm not going to take that away from you.
Whenever he stealths, I picture the Pink Panther theme going.
That's funny because I had the death march in mind.
Anyway, as you make it back to the party, you sort of slip out of the shadows and you go like, psst, you know, like,
guys, I saw 12 or so sacks of spider web with something inside. I'm not sure what, and I saw a number of smaller. Well, I say smaller, but no giant spider as you described.
I'll just stand up, turn around like I'm flat.
Nope.
Interested in this? Like
Paige is just like weak in the knees with fear. You know, like it's just like I'm fucking out.
10 out of 10, not entertaining this. Just.
Are we going the other way?
Like all I'm saying is the dwarfs built the tunnel. The tunnel has an escape. The escape is the way that the dwarfs built it, not the way to Death fucking Valley. Getting up, gonna walk down, or like, go back up, whatever, towards where the path splits, and go down the way that the dwarfs built.
Okay.
I really, really appreciate it if the party followed.
Okay.
Yeah, Ferris doesn't believe in the ability to get past all those spiders because he saw.
You didn't see necessarily that there was like much of a get past anyway. Like there was like a rocky crag that sort of like led deeper and like, you know, so forth. There are sort of like a couple of small entrances like off the main sort of cavern that would lead off to other places, but you don't know where those will come out. Like you have no idea sort of like what else resides within this mountain. Like you don't know if it's just more spiders. You don't know if it's spiders all the way down, you know what I mean? Like
spiders all the
way. Turtles all the way down.
So yeah, I follow Paige to check out the actual exit.
Feel free to overtake.
What about the other
2? One sec.
Man, I had some really cool
I
stuff.
guess we could probably send some of the dwarves down here on the idea that their king may have died this way.
Stop it.
I'm sure they'd want to recover his corpse.
Stop it.
We can come back in force is an option.
Yes, in force. That's what I meant.
I'm tempted.
You're gonna cast it, aren't you? Don't
I'm
do
really
it.
tempted
What are
to.
you doing?
Don't
It's
do
taking
it. Don't
all
do it.
my willpower not to do it.
You're gonna light the webs on fire?
I kinda wanna.
Oh, don't. I
If I
swear to
see
God.
Tibbles like starting to wave his hands around, I'm like,
Tibbles, just how about we check the exit first? You can do whatever on the way back. I don't care, as long as I'm in front of you.
In which case, after you, my friend.
Oh god.
And all these divination spells feel really helpful now.
I'll
Oh
follow.
shit! I have
I'm not
augury.
doing anything.
I forgot about that.
Continue.
alright, I think we're all following Paige.
Cool. So you get the hell out of there without disturbing any of the sleeping spiders.
Yep,
And
got it in one.
and you make your way to the exit. It does not appear that you hit basically a dead end at the end of this tunnel. But it's definitely a door. It just hasn't been opened or isn't open right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Roll an ego check.
Can I?
It's a stone door. You assume that there's probably some kind of switch or like word or command or anything
I
that might be able to
will-
open it. But
Cast Sift to try and sort of peruse the area to find the button.
okay,
Can I perceive to see a button?
Because I don't want to like go up and start like
touching it.
checking. Yeah.
What is Sift actually? What's the? I'll look it up. But like, what's the?
Sift is basically you get to make perception checks as though
As though you were like
You-
right there.
yeah, but you get a range of 30 feet. Like I still have to.
Okay,
make-
so you just gotta roll a perception check, but at a modifier. Okay.
Perception check minus 5.
No penalty applied for distance. Like, I get my perception check, which is this minus 5. 20.
Ooh, very nice. Yeah, there is a button sort of hidden on the right hand side, like at sort of dwarvish arm height. If you just like look at the rocks there, it's clear that like one of them is slightly out of place. Different coloration sort of thing. Easy
Yeah.
easy pick.
Only a dwarf would hide a button on the inside of a secret tunnel.
If Paige says anything about the button, like if she sees it, Ferris is instantly gonna walk up and push it.
Oh, I would have because it's the.
It's like, hey, I think that's the button. Ferris is just there's a rumbling noise, like a like grinding noise, and then you.
I'm gonna turn around. Like, do I hear spiders?
That
I
didn't.
think that's a
I'm gonna cast
legitimate
ghost
question
sound for
right
the
now.
sound of spiders crawling on the walls.
Are you really?
No.
He doesn't know about Paige's fear, except for all that screaming.
And sobbing,
It's a
and
good.
collapsing.
Anyway,
I didn't saw.
you spin
I'll wait
around
till we
like
make
looking
camp
back
for
down
the
the
evening.
passageway, and it doesn't look like there's anything coming. But you hear the grinding of the doors opening. It just opens up, and you're outside basically, like it's the mountainside. There's no sort of it's sort of hidden, like there's a little alcove where this door is, and it's like covered in vines and stuff. But you're basically like on the mountainside, exiting here.
Okay, I'll just do a quick. I'll like poke my head out and do a perception check to see if I see anything, but I don't think I will.
It's outside.
Oh, yeah.
Still.
There's no like descript markers of
Okay. At which point, it doesn't seem to be anything
If he
here.
made it this far, he probably made it further.
Yep.
I'm gonna say he died in the cavern. Let's go back to the others and tell them that.
He died in the cavern. We should investigate that then.
No, we should get others to help us investigate.
Ah,
Right.
yes,
That's-
I can see the
Why?
logic behind that.
Um,
I started
I,
heading up.
Dwarves.
I want to make a knowledge geography check.
Sure.
to know if there's any landmarks about this area that if a dwarven king had to flee his palace, like where if I was a dwarven king and I had to flee my palace,
Where would I go?
that's the first roll I've had below 10 all game.
Yeah, not particularly knowledgeable. I mean, it's meant to be a hidden exit, so of course there aren't like too many things that would denote it in terms of like anything that you would come out to.
Sure.
There is like a river sort of in the valley below you, which is possible there might have been a boat or something, but dwarves aren't particularly known for their sea craft, so.
We're not going to keep up with a boat anyway.
Oh,
That's the twist.
oh, I've had an idea.
Oh.
Right.
Me too.
Right. Assuming that the Dwarf King isn't a total idiot, right? Then
Assuming that
gonna-
the Dwarf King is alive.
right. If you're gonna build a secret passage, right, then you're only going to build it on the assumption that you think you might be getting chased because it's your last attempt to escape.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to be chased, then you would set up somewhere that you wouldn't necessarily get caught. So, like, if he's built the tunnel going down this, if the dwarves of like this family have built it going this way, then it makes a lot of rational sense that if they want to avoid getting caught, that they could possibly bait people going down this way with a hidden button in the door that goes out to nowhere. What if the spider cave isn't actually just a random spider cave, but it's a deliberate function of intelligent dwarven engineering?
That's an interesting thought, isn't it?
Are you saying that in character?
Yeah, this is like my step-by-step out loud.
You're just like going, oh shit! Like Paige is like having. That is
Like,
an interesting
so-
thought, isn't it?
Having
You
thought
mean
of that,
secret
Ferris is
exit.
like, oh my god, we need to go down there again.
Oh god, I've
Good
baited him
question.
again!
Yeah.
This is twice! Right, I'm going to try and keep
You
up.
know how curious Ferris
What's
is.
up-
Yeah.
You
what's up,
brought this to
Tibbles?
him.
The spider tunnel, like the entrance to that, like how wide of like it was an opening in the wall. How wide roughly was
Well, it's
like
like
the
human sized, you know, like someone hit it with a hammer or something. Like,
Okay, so like on a map, it would be like a 5-foot square.
yeah.
So it would be a total bottleneck. So if that place were a raging inferno of fire, anything that would want to get out of it would have to come out single file line.
Tibbles, please.
Yeah, I guess.
Tibbles, please.
I mean, this is on the assumption that there aren't other ways that things can go, like that aren't
Right, but
directly that way.
if we're outside, if they want to come towards us,
Sure.
Aye.
don't worry.
If you light it on fire and you back probably not gonna come at you.
Right, this is
However, as your GM, I'm going to advise against that plan.
As-
Not
right.
not because I think it's a bad plan, but because you're going to screw yourselves pretty hard.
I
Because you
have
don't
an idea.
necessarily know all the... I mean, fucking do it if you want. I'm just... I'm just
Like,
saying.
I'm not as a GM. I'm not telling you not to do it, but don't do it.
Well, I'm just saying there may be unforeseen consequences to burning everything.
Wow, could you imagine if it was
Point of
Could you imagine if it was like infernal aberrant spiders, and if you set the entire place ablaze, then they were actually buffed by the presence of flames? Wow.
I
would be-
have no knowledges. I don't know
Um,
shit. Like
I
I
don't
have
know
an
if you guys are
idea in my
actually
head,
discussing
and like I've got 20 charisma, and I am like, damn, I have really good ideas. Like, unless
Oh,
the
God,
party's
yeah.
like talking me out of it, like I'm just like, yeah, we could burn
Right.
it.
I
I
assume you're
want to-
not.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I was gonna say like, Ferris is on his way right now, and he
Yeah,
like
wait, I'm
he's
going to-
striding ahead of you. I'm
I'm going
assuming
to-
he
I'm
has a
going to,
quicker
like,
speed
try-
than you.
What? I'm human. I've got.
No,
movement
I mean
speed.
Tibbles, and I'm assuming Tibbles not gonna set the webs on fire if Ferris is in the
Alright.
the webs.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
With
I'm
my
hoping.
with my phenomenal divination powers that I'm so glad that I have now
yeah.
because I've remembered to use them. Would like to go back to where the spiders were, trying to catch up with Faris,
Mm-hmm.
and I would like to cast a spell that I have.
Okay. What spell would you like to
Detect-
cast?
Detect secret doors.
Detect secret doors.
You can detect secret doors, compartments, caches, and so forth. Only passages, doors, and openings that have been specifically constructed to escape detection are detected by this spell.
Specifically constructed to escape detection, huh? Is there a range?
Once we get there, it's a 60-foot cone that lasts a minute per level, so I sort of want to...
Okay, so you're just kind of doing like a scan.
Yeah, and then like going down a little bit further to catch a bit more,
Okay, cool.
like, without like going in.
Yeah, if you're doing this like enough that you're sort of you're deep enough into the cave that you could necessarily hit the walls that you need to hit.
Yeah.
You don't see anything that would come up as a secret door. Nothing made specifically to avoid detection, sadly. However, you do know that there is another way through the cave on the other side. You know, in that there is a passage, sort of on the other side of this place. Do you have spellcraft? Necro? Did we lose you? Have I just been monologuing to myself?
Yeah, I think Necro just went
Oh,
down.
looks like it. Hang on. We'll just give it a sec.
Yeah.
Just give it a sec for Necro to come back. So I require Necro's presence to tell him things. Tibbles has spellcraft, I bet.
Yeah, I totally do. I'd imagine Zorn has it as well.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good
I
point.
don't.
I'd imagine the intelligence-based caster is probably better at spellcrafting than the
It's
charisma-based
plus
caster.
I'm just
let's
thinking
see.
maybe spellcraft for me, actually. I just thought of something.
Nope.
Yeah, nothing.
Alphabetical hoo-ha +6.
Alphabetical hoo-ha. Oh my god, Necro, please come back.
Please.
Mecha Lecca high, Mecha rolled really low.
Sadly, you both rolled the same, and neither of you know shit.
By our powers combined, we are completely useless.
Captain Planet, he's a hero.
I'm going to activate my adaptation and
Okay.
cast Augury and ask the question, are we going to get ambushed going down this path?
Augury.
I have...
I wonder. We get ambushed by the ambush spiders going down this path.
You know that these
That they have
spiders are
covered
infamous for ambushing.
90% of the way.
Oh,
What you
okay.
don't know is
description.
that the spiders are particularly specific about what they ambush.
So, for Augury, you have to roll a D100.
You should roll that because I'm not allowed to know if I
And
succeed or not.
No, I did.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
just saying, like, I'm letting you know that I have performed the necessary steps.
And I should
question
have
review successful
72%.
results. Okay, if the spell fails, you get nothing. Consequences of failed or successful augury. The augury can see into the future only about a half an hour. You get a no.
No. As in...
As in, you will not be ambushed.
Okay. I say we're
Spread
fine.
down its
Let's
Now
go.
try
Let's
to
go.
communicate that to the party.
You guys know spellcraft. You can check what I just did. I assume, but yeah, I foresee the future. We're not going to get ambushed. We can do this.
Good luck with that. I'm getting dwarves down here to fight or die. Hopefully both. To get their king back.
Hopefully,
Feel-
both.
Feel. You can do. I don't know.
The feels. Okay, I'm gonna give Necro just a little bit longer. If he doesn't come back soon, this is probably a good place anyway.
Yeah.
Very, very cool that maybe you guys have figured out what I did. There's other things you haven't figured out, but
Mhm.
Necro was like on the ball though. This might be a decoy. Shit. All right.
Damn.
You know, the best way of dealing with a decoy is to burn it.
You're gonna
No
burn.
distractions.
You're gonna burn the stone door that leads out to the nothing.
No, just the web.
Pretty much.
All the web.
I really, really want you to burn it right now. Actually.
I'm really tempted to.
The Zorn would not let that happen.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have said no.
Neither would Ferris.
I don't know why, but I keep every time I hear Zorn, I think monk rather than wizard. I don't know why that like happens in my brain, but I just have this thing where like Zorn is a monk, but that's wrong. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
He's not gonna drop the quarterstaff and put up his
He's
dukes.
not gonna drop the quarterstaff and put up his dukes. I don't think he has a quarterstaff.
Nope.
Okay, Necro, please.
I guess his entire machine died or something?
Yeah,
Jeez.
maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
It's cool. What I'm gonna do is I'll kill the local recording right about now,
Okay.
and then we'll just hang around for a little bit, see if he comes back, whatever, and we'll discuss a little bit further. So, ladies and gentlemen, on the local recording, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.